The angels online. The angels online. The angels. The angels. The angels online.
Good people, good people. Good people, good people. Good people, good people. Good people, good people. Woo-wee! Good people, good people. What's going on, y'all? This Angel with the Angels Online, and I got a full house right now with me today. I have all males. This episode is season 4, episode 8, The Males Mental Matters. So you know we talking about mental health with the men. We got some youngins in the building right here. We got my young man to the left and my other one to the right. They'll introduce themselves when we come around. We're going to start right now with the furthest man on my left. Talk to him. What's your name, sir?
My name is Tony Gillen. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I've been doing it for almost 10 years now.
Come on.
Happy to have this conversation about mental health among us men.
Wonderful. Who we got next to you? What's their name, young man?
Tony. My name is Tony.
Tony, how old are you?
10.
You're 10?
Yeah.
Tony's 10. I know we can hear you. Next to him. Let's go.
Yeah,
sir.
I'm Rayshawn Simmons, ex-professional athlete, played 10 years overseas, 2 years NBA Summer League. Just won a state championship with Print, now coaching, trying to give back to the youth. And I also started my own organization surrounded around basketball and mental health for all athletes and financial literacy.
Boom.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Marco. Born and raised STL. Still working on a project called The Project. Therapy helps everybody. Just something I'm starting just to give back to the community, give back to us. Mental health matters. So.
My name is Evan Scott Waller. I'm glad to be on the show today. Thanks, Rhonda, for inviting me to talk about men's mental health. I'm just really here today to share my insight on how we all deal with the experiences.
Wonderful.
I'm Mike Gardine Jr. I am a football coach, entrepreneur, community advocate. I'm happy to be here. I'm a vet. This is my third episode. You know
Come on, man. You better talk to the people.
Good people. I'm here all the time. So, I'm just here talking about mental health. I got a big perspective on mental health. I've been affected in many different ways. So, just here to give back as much as I can.
Good.
My name is Mikey Gerdine. I'm a high school student, soon to be college student and athlete. This is my dad to my left. This is my first episode though, so.
Good. I love it. Y'all know I'm Angel with the Angels Online. Book just dropped, Navigating the Storm, Mental Health Tips for All just dropped. Cop that, Amazon, Shopify, my store, www.theangelsonline.org. We got action. We're going to get straight to it because I believe this topic, it'll take some time because life is not fast. We got to take our time. We got to move. We got to make decisions. All these men and young men just told us things that they do. They have insight. They have perspective they want to give us. And what we want is we want the world to be open to more perspective experiences. And we know at the Angels Online, we're focused on professional experience, personal experience, and professional knowledge. And at this table, we have all three of them sitting right here, including the youth who have personal experience and they're learning to gain that knowledge and being able to advocate for themselves as young men later on down the line in the future. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and ask is, I'm going to start with Tony on my left. What was your earliest memory of understanding mental health as you are a licensed mental health counselor, and how did it affect you growing up as a man?
I think when I think about my first experiences, I think about my upbringing. I grew up in Walnut Park in North St. Louis, for those who know where that is. And it was a very challenging environment to be in. A lot of the men that I grew up around, I noticed that were very angry or escaping in some kind of way, whether it was through addiction, whether it was through just fighting and things of that nature. And so I noticed that early. My mother and my grandmother and a lot of the women in my family were very understanding and provided safe spaces to really express myself. And so I grew up having the ability to not only express how I felt, but to communicate how I felt.
Good.
And so that propelled me in my life to being able to have conversations with people and actually to live in vulnerability. I never was someone that was scared to be vulnerable because I found a lot of power in that because I grew up in that power. And so that has really propelled me even into this field that I'm in now as a licensed professional counselor, really holding space and allowing others to be able to find their vulnerability as well.
Whew, powerful. We grew up opposite, you know what I mean? Like having that, you know, I have my voice regardless. But just seeing all of it, you know what I'm saying? I love that. Thank you so much. Go ahead, young man. What's up? Rashawn.
Yeah, I would say for me, it was probably shocking because I really didn't understand mental health until
Talking your mic, you ain't gonna bite
sorry. I didn't really understand mental health until probably I got older, probably around COVID. Honestly, you know, being a professional athlete in 2020, I probably 5 years ago, I was like 26, 27. But trying to be a professional athlete, especially coming up in St. Louis, it's kind of a dog eat dog world. So it's like push through. There was no mental health. It was get through it. You know, no matter how tough it is. You know, some of the drills and sports we was doing aren't around anymore, like bull in the ring and football. Just different like sprints, different obstacles we had to overcome. It was never like, okay, well, how are you feeling? How are you doing? It was more so get through it. You'll be okay. So, you know, being raised like that and then having the experience I have blessed, you know, to use the game of basketball to travel the world and get my education, my degrees, you know, I started to learn there was other sides of life. So it took me probably until COVID to start realizing like, yo, this isn't normal. You know, some of the stuff I'm seeing in St. Louis, like guns, like just being exposed in St. Louis at an early age, growing up, moving around a lot, having a lot of siblings, family. So, you know, it took me longer to even realize, you know, and I'm still processing mental health and, you know, the importance of it. But knowing how it affected me as an athlete, you know, really got me intrigued to teach the youth about it.
I love that. You taking your professional experience and your professional knowledge and your personal experience and you giving it back to the young people. I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Marco, talk to me, sir.
Oh man. Growing up in St. Louis, especially where I'm from, I grew up in a Cochran. You grew up in a hood and it's a lot of normalcy. I didn't get introduced into mental health until later. You know, growing up in the inner city, growing up in the projects, like your parents are like, you know, mental health therapy is for white people. You know, it's for rich people. That's them rich people problems. We got to push through this. Like he said, like you got to push through this. I saw my first dead body when I was 7. Like that's not normal for a kid, and I saw it repeatedly after that happened over and over again. So like you push that through the back of your head, and like I just got to get out. Like I got to get out this environment, and I'm never looking back. But I got to get out somehow. I got to escape whatever this is. So you know in your mind, like as a kid, like this ain't normal. It's just you see it so often that it becomes a normal. It becomes a habit just like anything else that we go through. So it wasn't until later on in life where I think probably I want to say like 2018, 2019, it was an incident that happened, changed my life forever. And I was like, yo, I got to find a therapist. Like I got to find something. When the incident happened, I saw another shooting basically, but this one basically unlocked everything. It was at Ballpark Village, the incident that happened at Ballpark Village back in like 2019, I believe it was. It just unlocked everything that I had experienced and suppressed as a kid. So I remember my pastor had came to me and was like, yo, you know, how you feeling? I'm like, bro, I am not okay. Like I hadn't slept in like 10 days.
Honesty.
I just was going through the motions and he was like, you know, we got to figure this out. And I was like, yeah, I got to find somebody I can talk to about this other than you. I'm like, I know you're going to give me a spiritual side, but I need a mental side to help me deal with these nightmares I'm having and the stress that I'm having that I'm dealing with of just my past. So went to therapy. Shout out to my therapist. And I advise everybody. I think, like I said, my project is therapy helps everybody. I suggest and I highly recommend for everybody to go to therapy, no matter what you're dealing with. It's super dope.
And you just said basically it was one incident that said it's time.
Yeah. It was. So like, believe it or not, like when you like as a kid, when you grow up in that environment, you don't realize you suppress a lot of stuff.
We don't know.
Like you suppress so much. And like it's like you know what it reminded me of, and this might be cliche. That's a Raven. when she had those like visions.
Yep.
Like it unlocked
Oh wow, yeah.
everything.
Good example.
Like you literally saw literally I was having nightmares to where I saw like me back when I was 10 and seeing a body, seeing a drive-by in the hood. And like you literally see everything, like it slow down, you get the details of like, oh, snap, that's what happened.
Yeah.
A whole witness to it.
Like you witnessed this as a kid and like or 7 seeing my brother homeboy laying there in a pool of blood. I got a younger brother that's younger than me. He saw this person die. So my older brother saw his first dead body, he was like 5.
So it's
like
this is brought you face to face to your traumas.
like to your traumas. Like it was like your traumas were unlocked and like you got to deal with them.
Right.
Like I'm putting them right here. You got to deal with them. And therapy was the only way, other than just my faith in God, was the only way I could deal with it.
Powerful. Thank you. Powerful. Come on, we talk. It's early. I told you we got time today.
Good people.
Good people. Let's talk. Evan, talk to me, baby. Talk to me.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. But
I
I can relate in a lot
Real
of
life,
ways,
baby.
Right? So ask that question again.
What was your earliest memory of understanding mental health?
Okay.
And did it affect you growing up as a man? How did it affect you?
Absolutely. I would say for me, I've learned at a very young age. I believe I was around the age between 7 or 8 o'clock. 7 to 8, not 8
you all
o'clock.
right? We in it, baby.
Right.
That's early. You just letting us know it's early age, baby.
Right. Right. But no, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit nervous because I'm on mic, but I'll get through it
Don't worry
real
about
quick.
that.
But the reality is for me, like he said, that's so Raven. That you saying that took me back to when I was a kid because that was exactly when seeing that. Your eyes open. Yeah. So I'll just open up a little bit. All right, gentlemen. So I was molested as a child around that age. And when that happened to me, that's when I knew something mentally just wasn't right about the experience. Yeah. And then the fact that I dealt with it and then I had to share my story with other people. And then there was other people involved in the situation. Everybody here has experienced some type of different, experience with people.
Yes.
But my experience was in going through the mental health. Imagine getting ran home by those kids and they calling you gay because you didn't do what they thought you should have done.
Right.
As a black man.
Right.
So that was a different mental turnaround for me because that make you question yourself. You wonder am I this because this is what people say?
Right.
Like what's the real deal here? They don't understand what you went through. But they not even trying to talk about it because when you all young like that, they don't really know how to help you go through that, especially if they agree to what's going on. Right. So that's my takeaway from it. Yeah.
That's a powerful takeaway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's out there that is known that it's not okay. It's okay to talk about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Peers need to talk about it. And everybody has a story. Yeah. Rather than jumping to conclusions, you don't know what nobody went through, what's going on. So I thank you for sharing that. Mike.
Before I go, remember he was raising his hand. Do you want to say something, bro?
You gotta go ahead, sir. Speaking that mic over there, young man.
Go ahead.
Right there. What you got a question?
You got a question about something?
I was asking him a question.
What question?
Ask him talking your mic, baby.
Talking to Mike.
Did they find the person in the shooting?
That I'm not sure about. I'm not
in the ballpark village one.
In the ballpark village they did, and unfortunately, the time didn't fit the crime. So I think he got 4 years. Yeah, he got 4 years for murder and assault with a deadly weapon.
Wow.
So
thank you so much for asking that question, young Tony. Appreciate you. You're okay. You got a voice. Raise your hand like you just did. Somebody gonna notice you.
You ain't seen. I ain't want to.
Yeah, somebody gonna notice you. You okay? You gonna be heard. You all right, baby? Mike, go ahead, boss.
So it's crazy because I really didn't. Mental health really wasn't a big thing for me until I think I was maybe 18. And then I started to experience. I had a couple back-to-back incidents that kind of hit me within a 10-month span. I really had a bunch of stuff going on. I graduated high school 3 days before I was supposed to go to college. One of my best friends killed himself. And then how I found out was so bogus. An ex called me and was like, he just killed himself. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, get off my phone. Hung up on her. I'm walking outside. My daddy walking up the steps. He just had a look on his face. I'm like, what's up? I need to talk to you. And I already knew because she said so. I'm like, what you mean? So when he said that, I had to go tell some of my other friends. You know what I mean? It was traumatic. So that happened. That was in August. In June, another friend hung himself. Like, it just a lot of stuff back to back. Then I had so that was in August. And in February, I got my girlfriend pregnant. I had a baby on the way. And then a friend of mine. So it was just a lot. And I never understood really mental health, like therapy, going to therapy, any of that type of stuff, really until like Ray talked about like COVID. I think I had some stuff going on. I really had to like focus, and I had to go talk to somebody. So that was the first time I went to therapy, and therapy for myself, because I try to do like some relationship therapy way back when. But like therapy for myself, where I just really talked about, you know what I'm saying, like myself and my mental health. And some of the things where I felt like, I'm suppressing, or like I'm telling myself it's okay. In therapy, it forced you to deal with it and navigate through it. And then kind of like what y'all saying, people dying, that's not normal. People getting shot, that's not normal. Like the stuff that we see on a daily basis, like that we suppress, like even with what you're talking about, because that's brave. I appreciate you even coming forward. Yeah. Like in our community, like, that all that shit gets swept under the rug so much. And people just, don't worry about that shit, or whoever. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just that's not okay. And how I was raised, I had a great father, I had a great stepfather, I had great uncles. Like, I didn't really see
a blessing. Like,
exactly. Like, all my struggles was like self-inflicted. You know what I'm saying? Like I put them struggles on myself. I got into some stuff I shouldn't have been into on my own. You know what I'm saying? Trying to live a lifestyle that wasn't like, I don't know nothing about this stuff, and I'm trying to prove to some people who don't even matter that I'm not. No, I ain't. What, sheltered? I ain't sheltered. What you mean? I'm tough like y'all. I'm outside like y'all. Nah, bro. I ain't never had no syrup sandwich. I ain't never came home, my lights was off. I don't know them struggles. You know what I'm saying? And then people try to make you feel away for not going through that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's a rite of passage. Like everybody struggle different. You know what I mean? And then the stuff that we glorify in our neighborhoods and our community is not stuff to be glorified. You know what I mean? Right.
Come on,
you can read. Stupid, you read. Like,
man, you read a book?
I like to read. Is that okay?
You play the violin.
I played that.
It's almost like trauma. It's almost like trauma is a rite of passage when it comes to our community.
Yeah, 100%.
Like 100%. If you didn't go through the not having the lights or not having any food,
you can't speak on it,
or your dad wasn't around, then are you really a real person?
Right. Are you really black?
Yeah. Are you really
black? Hood?
Right.
Or you really,
like you said, I like to read. What you reading for? We don't read over here. Like, why is it a problem?
Right.
Yeah. I would also say, our music kind of glorifies it. Made it from the bottom, now I'm here. So all our kids, we're gonna follow those artists, those athletes. Just naturally, that's what the culture is. We are the culture. Right. If you think about it, it's color everywhere around the world, except 100%. Everybody else got some type of pigmentation in their skin. Yep. No matter where you go. Yep. So we are the culture.
And when you just said started from the bottom, now we here, but we just had multiple stories, and that's why I do this, and that's why I made this episode so much bigger than my regular ones, because started from the bottom, now we here does not even mean everybody got different stories. His bottom is different than my bottom and your bottom. Exactly. Mike's bottom is different than my bottom and his bottom and your bottom. You know what I mean? So when you say started from the, and kids that are in those situations in the bottom, they automatically sometimes might assume that it means syrup sandwiches. Right. No lights. It means, no, you don't understand. You know what I'm saying? My dad was in prison. That's a bottom. To not have a father present and to have a village. Yeah. I lived off a village in that sense. You know what I'm saying? So, and people need to realize that, and I'm glad I got young people sitting here, because starting from the bottom can mean multiple things.
And it can be multiple bottoms.
Yes, exactly.
Because life don't be life.
Look here. That's 100%. And then to go back before I go to Lil Mike back there, Mike just said my issues were self-inflicted wounds. Like I did that. I didn't have that. But it also goes when these kids make mistakes. You can raise them to do all these things and be great and everything, but at some point they're going to want to make their own decisions, and you have to let them fail. You know what I'm saying? They have to be held accountable. All those things. Mike just held himself accountable. He was like, nah, my uncles and them, my mom, my dad, my stepdad, everybody stepped up to the plate. I wanted to prove something. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. Da 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 da. Whereas now I'm sitting here and I got a big Mike on here and I got a little Mike all the way to my right over there. Now you can understand. Don't live in trying to please people. That's why you're here right now. That's why your daddy got you here. So you can learn that. And you can see, oh, he made the mistakes. Now you can't say that you ain't hear all these men talk about the mistakes they made or the decisions or whatever, because we know you ain't missing for nothing because your daddy's taking care of you, making sure he the right way. Athlete and everything. He a coach. He your friend, your father. He's everything. And I see it, you know, and I just wanted to go back today because the Angels Online, I'm juvenile awareness. I want people to understand kids. I want the kids to understand adults. I connect youth and adults in open dialogue, discussing real life circumstances and situations. And this is all real life right here. And so I wanted to say that because people like to blame the parents so fast. But his parents out here doing great. We got little Tony sitting right here. In 5, 6, 7, 8 years, if he decide to do something, we know that his mom and dad did the best they could. Whether it's switching schools or whatever, they want the best.
Right.
You know,
parenting complicated though. Like it's not a book.
Yes, there's no script.
A book. So like, I know. Like I have conversations with people all the time, especially like single moms. And I said I want to write a book. I'm just nervous about writing this book.
Don't ever be nervous. We can do it.
I'm being honest.
I'm here for you. Navigating the storm out right now.
I did. I definitely want to write a book. Definitely dedicated to like single moms, especially like raising Black boys, because I feel like it's a book that they go by that's wrong. And it's not
the wrongest.
The wrongest. It's like I say that and like you say that and they get offended so fast.
Quit.
And
it's a defense mechanism.
I've had this conversation with women I've dated, friends, everything, and it's like I'm a Black man, right? And I'm like, am I the worst Black man you've ever came across? You trust me? You trust me enough to be this person in your life to have these conversations. But when I give you the information and telling you this about your son, you don't want to receive it. And I'm like, that don't make sense. And I'm like, is it because of who's saying it? Like, is it just because it's me? Or is it because you're tone deaf to what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to give you the tools. I'm not going to tell you wrong. I'm going to tell you just this don't make sense. And I've had conversations. Like, I got a homegirl that like I'm talking about, she will get defensive, be like, I ain't trying to hear all that. And I'm like, boy, I'm telling you that's not wrong. That's not right.
Nobody wants to hear.
And I'm talking about, it's something simple as like, and I won't say names, but like I tell her all the time, like, yo, your son is at an age now where you shouldn't be walking around. And I think earlier, you shouldn't be walking around the house naked.
Hell,
My granny just said that.
Like you shouldn't be, and he shouldn't be walking around the house in underwear. And like she got defensive about it, and she'll probably hear this and go off on me. But it was like, it's something similar. And
how
like,
old is he?
I want to say he like 6, 7, something like that.
At 3,
like 6 or 7. But like even,
but see, that's a person. But that's him running around in underwear. I mean,
well, either way. And I understand kids are and I understand the freedom, mental, and all that. But like,
she should be.
But at the same time, it's like, you know, you develop a standard that way later on in life. And I try to tell people that like people be like, why don't you have problems with your daughter? And I'm like, because from birth, I established a set of rules. There are rules that she knows that she cannot break. Yes. If these rules are broken, there are going to be consequences with them. I'm not a perfect parent by no means. This little girl give me the blues all the time. But there are rules that I set in place, and there are standards that I set in place. We had this conversation before we even got on air. Like, a B is a conversation in my house. It may not be in everybody else's house. There's just in my house, there's a conversation on, okay, let's see why you got this B. Right. You ain't in trouble. It ain't the end of the world. A C, you know, you might have to get some stuff taken away. But a B, we're just going to have a conversation. So there's standards set. That way, later on in life, there's accountability and expectations I already had. And there's a normalcy. So there's a normalcy of this, and this. And that way, when it gets older, because you won't see that bleed. Somewhere there's going to be a blurred line later on in life for him. And I don't speak that into his life. I hope it doesn't. But I'm like, there's going to be something where like, there's going to be like, it'll be a weird, like like conversation and like, oh well, my mom used to do this all the time. They're gonna be like, what?
And because he's gonna normalize that, and then somebody else gonna come around and they're gonna be like, wait, but I ain't do that. I ain't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Again, everybody,
everybody's different. So it's like, that's why.
And also it depends on how the parenting is. Because you said your example was at 6, run around and draws boxers or whatever. It depends on different on the household. So for instance, we have Tony here. We have little Tony here. Yep. You know, at 6. Did he have shorts on? Did he have boxers? Did he, you know?
I mean, when it's just me and them, I allow them to
different ball game.
Yes, a different ball game.
A whole different ball game.
Same sex is two totally different.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
It's
yeah.
just,
but
it's
like with
things.
my daughter, right? Yeah. Then okay, we're gonna make sure that you good. Make sure you got your clothes on. You know, and the company comes over. Hey, everybody, make sure you got shirts on. Make sure you got pants on.
100%.
You know, but I also want to add to what you said about, you know, growing up and then you kind of normalizing that. But also remember this. They also become parents themselves, all right? And what if this young man grows up and has a daughter? Then how is she allowed to walk around the household, and what kind of dangers could that pose, and like what kind of cycles are we creating here?
It's a cycle.
And then the conversation with her mom about like, this ain't normal,
so,
your daddy shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
And it becomes a cycle because these conversations I had, a lot of things that we see out here, even with kids, you know, y'all got kids in school and I see kids in schools, I'm like, the hell is going on? Like a lot of stuff has been normalized based off exactly what we just said.
Yeah.
People are not addressing it. Nobody's having those conversations. And there's no perspectives put out there. Like you thinking of intricate, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't think of the intricate things of it. They think of just the flat line surface right here.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they like to think deeper. I love to think deeper, and I don't care if people don't like it. But if you don't think deeper, then you miss some things.
It's not a big deal.
It's
not a big deal. Y'all overthinking it.
Yeah.
What you're doing is you're being proactive,
that's
not reactive.
That's my number one
I think a lot
thing.
of times people don't want to be proactive.
I gotta do it.
Right?
I gotta do it.
And people are focused on the intention because she's probably like, well, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing. I'm not intending to harm my child by walking around with no clothes. But what you're doing is you're impacting them. Right. And it's more about the impact than it is the intent.
Yeah. And I think it also goes into kind of what all of us open up saying is we had to figure out certain stuff not normal. So now we're trying to break cycles and people that haven't had these conversations or the mental capacity that we've been through or the emotional intelligence to express ourselves, thinking that we're the ones crazy when we're saying, hey, no, that little girl need clothes on. So now we're trying to break cycles that have been systematically, you know, instilled into us, you know. So it's tough.
And you said that when you started talking.
Yeah.
Playing sports, traveling, being exposed to other things. You were like, wait, that's another life. That stuff ain't normal.
Right.
And it goes back to what you just said. I love that. I want to go back to Mike. Little Mike back there, baby. Like, we ain't forget about you, baby. Girl, this the dialogue, baby. The angels online, baby. Look at her.
I'm just listening.
What was your earliest memory of understanding mental health? And if you don't understand it and you learn it by not just listening to us, that's okay too.
Yeah, I definitely say that I'm still learning, still trying to really understand what it means to me.
Good. I love it. Ain't nothing wrong with it, sweetheart. Ain't nothing because it's growing up as a man and you're still young. So the question didn't really relate to you, but I still want to always give you a voice. And now you just let us know that we're giving you information now.
Can I ask
That's
a
what
question
we're
here?
here for.
Can I
Go
ask
ahead,
a
sir.
question?
Yes, sir.
For you, and what you 16, 17?
18.
What is the conversation around mental health for a lot of 18-year-olds? Like, what is it? What does that mean to your generation? Wrong or right?
I think it. Yeah, I think it.
Okay, we going right into it.
It's just like stuff that you go through, no matter what it is. It's some type of. Everybody got some type of struggle, like you said. Whether that be at home or at school or in a relationship or anything like that. It's just getting through that and processing your experiences and becoming a better person from it.
Yeah.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
And instead of me going to the next question, I'm going to go with that because my question I was going to ask was, and it was for you and since you said at the table, you know what I'm saying, young man?
Can I say my earliest memory? Or can my dad tell it?
No, you tell me, baby. No.
He can't answer for you.
You gonna speak. You tell me. Hey, you hold on. I'm gonna ask you. What's your earliest memory of understanding mental health, Tony?
I
Talk to your mic, baby.
Yeah, talking to Mike.
There you go.
Probably like 7, probably.
When you were 7, what happened?
Like like when we had like struggles with family. When we lost family, it's like made me sad or stuff, and so it kind of makes me think, is this gonna happen to me as well, or is this a different thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was thinking, oh, maybe I should what was I thinking again? Maybe I should think this and that, even though it's not really it's not really true, because who knows how I'm gonna die.
Come on. Yes, sir.
Right.
And only God knows that. Like milk, we have like an expiration date.
Wow.
And
come on, you better talk to me. I'm listening to you, sir.
And
teach me.
You can still be reborn again, like they talk about birthmarks.
Yes, sir.
And we have like expiration dates on us, so we don't know when we're going to die, but we know they're going to know how.
Right.
The people that are still alive, that like family, they're going to know how.
Right.
They're going to know how it happened.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And so what do you do until that day comes?
I try to spend my life happy.
You better talk to us. You better live the dream. Be the best you can be, huh? In every aspect. That's why you're sitting at this table right now.
Yep.
You are literally the reason why you are my purpose. Because people don't realize that kids know and they understand. And you just sat here and told us that we have an expiration date, and you correlated it. You compared it to milk. Because milk get expired, right? But before that milk gets expired, we got to drink it.
Right.
Every way we can, right? Whether it's with cookies, cinnamon rolls, or cereal. Okay?
For real.
Thank you so much.
With a 10-year-old.
And a child shall lead.
Tell them how old you are.
10. Almost 11.
When your birthday?
April.
21st. April 21st.
Aries gang.
Coming up.
Aries gang.
Look at that. Come on, you better talk to us.
And a child shall lead, man. That gave me chills, for real.
I mean, thank you. You in the conversation. You are part of the group. It's the male's mental matters. Male. You a male.
I love it. I love it because like that means he has a voice, and like I'm big on like these kids having like I'm big on like their voices, man. Because we didn't. If you think like, and I ain't gonna say I can't speak for everybody, but like we were told to shut up. Like this conversation.
Stay in the child's place.
Stay in the child's place, and like even I say that to my daughter, like to a certain conversation, but
correct.
That's when it's being amongst adults. Like, but what do you say?
Nah, he talking about
No, but I ain't mean it like
No,
that.
I know what you mean. Because this and really, me and his mom talk about this all the time. It really kind of bit me in my butt. Like I raised him to be such an independent thinker, and like you a leader, and like you don't have to accept what somebody tell you. You can challenge things, and like I didn't mean challenge me though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So here's the crazy. Here's the hard part of it, right? So like I tell my daughter all the time, like challenge me, but always keep it respectful.
Right.
Always think before you do it. But I got that from Pursuit of Happiness. When he was on a basketball court with his son, and he told his son like,
no
you
matter
can't do
what,
this,
even if I tell you, me too.
We can't. We don't use the word "can" in my house.
That's crazy.
We don't use the word "can't." You got to figure it out first, and then if you don't know how to figure it out, come ask for help. So one, I want you to at least try.
Right.
So you're always going to be trying, and then two, if you're not able to figure this out, then you're able to go ask someone who knows. You're teachable.
Right.
And that's a big thing. So even in having that voice, like you're able to receive the information. You're just not giving out information because you will know it all, but you're also able to receive the information. So I've always wanted her like, hey, have a voice. Like make sure you're telling me like, this don't make sense. Yeah. I remember her like, and I give a story as like, I remember I told her to go like get ready for school one time when she was like 6, and her cousin was at the house, and she was like, well, that don't make sense, Daddy. And I was like, well, why doesn't it make sense? And she was like, well, if I go get in the tub now and go to bed, when I'm done, by the time I get out, she gonna be gone. I was like, go anyway. Like, you right. Like, I know you want to spend more time with your little cousin, but it's bedtime. Like, you right. Like, but like since then, like she's been able to like just basically like this don't make sense to me. Like it don't, and that's why I was like when we had these conversations, it's like it's good for these kids to be like, all right, okay, hold on now, wait, that don't make sense, and we weren't able to do that. Like that don't make sense. You got to explain this to me. Because you can't just tell me to do it.
Yeah.
And it don't like it's not registering
Explain
why. Like we had to do stuff without. Hey, go turn the oven on, preheat it to 400 degrees. If it burn you, it burn you. It don't matter. And then we like, what? If it burn me, like what? Like you did something. You did something wrong. Like what? Wait, whoa. But for her, it's like, all right, these are the instructions. This is why you're gonna do this, and because you do this, this is the outcome with it. We explain all that to our kids, where we didn't get that.
A lot of times, because those parents didn't even know what the outcome was going to be.
And that's what
so
it was.
when you challenge, they do what I want to do because they don't like critical thinking. They don't want to do all of that. Mike, I want to go to you, sir.
Wait, can I say something before?
Well, Mike, go ahead, because it's for you.
You go, Ray had something. Ray, what you got?
I was.
Hold on, go ahead.
Yeah, I was
we
just,
outside.
he was just talking. I didn't want to cut him off, but Mike just be saying everything. But what I was gonna say, working with starting my company, Hoops and Beyond, I kind of was focusing the difference of an athlete with a one-parent household versus two-parent household, which kind of, with Mike talking, I was an athlete, there is a difference, but it was something to piggyback off where everybody was saying that I went into was every human has there's three basic human conditions: to be seen, to be heard, and to be respected. As a human, if we get those three things, we're kind of fulfilled inside. So, it starts at an early age with kids are like, Mommy, look, they ain't doing nothing but spinning on the floor. Daddy, look. They want to be seen. You hear them making noise. You tell them be quiet. They still in there making that same noise, banging on something. They want to be heard. They feel like they're not being. So these are things I noticed and I kind of instill in my coaching is sometimes these kids just want to be heard, seen, or respected.
Right.
And that goes with all humans. It's not just a male, female.
Correct.
Those are the three basic human conditions of every human. If you're being seen, heard, and respected, you're gonna be fulfilled inside.
That's huge.
As he was saying, want to be seen. It's just clicking on because that's something I really try to instill in my teaching with the kids and remember.
That's good. That y'all know we call the Angels Online voice of the unheard, right? We hear you. Lil Mike, you wanted to say something before I ask the next question. Go ahead.
So like what he was talking about, children not having a voice in like y'all generation and stuff. I was having a conversation with my teacher the other day, and it was like it made me realize that like my generation and people that's like a little bit older than me and younger than me is like the break from that. Like my generation, we were given a voice as kids, and I think that's shown even in him. Like, and I think that what y'all went through comes from preconditioning from way back.
Correct.
Like what he said.
Correct.
Being seen, heard, and respected. Like we was denied that because of this.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that my generation was finally able to break that.
And I'm glad you said it. And goes back to what we said because we had it. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
So guess what? We're gonna make sure we know how it feels. So you treat people accordingly. We know how it feels. So we're gonna have to give it out. Which is why I started this being in the criminal justice system. I've seen so much. You 18, I done handcuffed, put boys down 18 that was 3, 4, and 5 inches taller than you. You get tired of doing it. How can I help these kids before they get to that point? You know what I'm saying? That's my thought process. And so when I started this, it was like, I had a lot of kids who was just like, oh, Mama Ramsey, da-da-da. I mean, these kids locked up. I got a 15-year-old looking at 30 years. This was my in Texas and everything, you know what I'm saying? And I'm having a conversation with a kid, and then the next day, he dead. You know what I'm saying? Working at the 22nd Judicial. And then being a probation parole officer, you look at it, and I got adults who done spent 40 years in prison who get out. That's the best PO I had, because I treated them like they were human. You know what I mean? I don't care about none of that extra stuff or whatever. We could be, I had people, and I know you could be rehabilitated because I had clients who was making $30, $40 an hour based off the trainings they got when they were in prison. And so my job is like, how can I'm going to help these kids before they get to this point, which is why I started this. Let's connect youth and adults. Let's give these kids a voice. But then you have adults who don't even have a voice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So put them together. Go ahead, sir.
When when you say you have a 15-year-old looking in 30 years. Is this what actually happened, or
Yes, sir.
are you?
I used to work for the Texas Juvenile Justice Department, and I remember this 15-year-old. I won't say his name, but he had 30 years, and he kept saying that he was innocent.
Mhm.
And so that was a big battle, and he was like, he's going crazy, and he would really have these outbursts, and it was a scene, right? But I'm a criminal justice professional, so that's what I dealt with.
And also, when people get like life sentences, how do they only turn out spending 28 years, but some people are over here spending whole life sentences until they're dead?
Well, it depends on the crime. It depends on the courts. Okay, it's a big difference. It depends on the courts. Okay, whatever decision the prosecution and the defense and the state, whatever they come up with together, and the judge makes that. And then if there's other circumstances that come into play afterwards, things can change. You can be on death row and you can get off. And then also, every state is not the same. You have to, if you get a life sentence, that just means you spend the rest of your life. But you have some states where they believe in capital punishment, which means you're going to get sentenced to death. But every state's not the same.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you have 30 years and you only spend 20, you might have had life with the possibility of parole. You have the chance of getting out after a certain amount of years, based on your behavior, based on the crime, based on the victim that's a part of the case too.
The witnesses?
Not the witnesses, just the victims and the state and everything else. The witnesses, they do their testimony, and that's how you get in, because they're presented in court. That's a good question. I don't mind answering.
I wanted to say something to what you all were talking about with just giving a voice, right? And I think a lot of that, and this is like it's a bigger point in certain instances where, you know, a lot of our upbringing was rooted in our parents' trauma that was passed down from their parents' trauma. Because you think about early in American existence, to question, that was a death sentence.
So and it's crazy. I don't even control. I was just looking it up. We're only 160 years removed from slavery. That's 3 people. That's literally a mom, a grandma, a mom, and a son. Like literally. So we're not that far removed.
So the whole concept of like, get out of here, grown folks are talking, or like that probably was a lot of white people talking. And if you get too close and you trying to listen in, well, what you over here listening for? Now we gonna string you up, or we gonna string your family up, or we gonna sell you to some other plantation. And so they learn like, hey, stay out of people's business. You know, now there is a balance here, right? Because we also can't allow our children to just be in and out of conversations and being a part of things that maybe they're not necessarily ready to experience or ready to have conversations about. Because especially if we talk about age, right? And so I think, because I know sometimes with my children, one thing they get in trouble with is, and I know I'm talking about you a little bit, but one thing they get in trouble with sometimes is being a part of conversation that don't involve them, right? And every conversation that's being had doesn't need your input. And it's okay to have an opinion.
Correct.
But make sure that, like you said, it's okay to have an opinion, but be respectful, right? Hey, maybe this is not the conversation for you to have, but hey, maybe down the line, you can come back and have a conversation with someone else about said topic. But you want to make sure you're practicing discernment. And hey, when I do give you an instruction, sometimes it's not appropriate for you to ask me questions. Sometimes it's appropriate for you to follow directions, because this might be a life and death situation. And if you're always asking questions, then we don't get to the safety that we need, right? So there has to be a level of balance of that, you know. And I'm not saying you all are saying
no, 100%.
but
no,
you know,
I agree with that.
We want to make sure there's not just kids are just able to just freely express and do what they want without order.
Discernment, you know.
And that's literally the point of this.
Yeah.
Like, you got to learn to advocate and respectfully and professionally. You're going to learn that early on.
Right.
And by just listening to these, like, y'all talking, like, you're 100%, I'm with it.
And even from you in your profession, like, you understand kids that grew up without boundaries, right? And now they get in these systems where there are strong
boundaries,
still like boundaries, and they can't function.
Requirements, like, you know,
Right, what you mean? You can't tell me what to do. What you mean I can't tell you what to do? I can, and I will. And they have to deal with that, and they struggle.
And
with
it stressed them. It kills them.
Yeah.
When I tell you it pulling their hair out. I mean, I had a little boy was like, but this is y'all nothing. There was no structure.
Yeah, there's
it
no
wasn't
structure.
set.
Mm-hmm.
And now you come in, and like I've told young boys and girls, I would never know you if you weren't in here.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do nothing to you. I would have never known you. But understand, this is my job.
Right.
This is my expertise. So you can listen to what I have to say. You don't have to listen to it, but and a lot of times they get right back into those environments that they came from.
Mm-hmm.
And so I might have said multiple things, but it's just like you go to therapy and they could be making, you and Kaylee could be teaching kids, you know what I'm saying, all these things, and then they go home.
Yeah.
And it offsets.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, kids want to be gratification seekers, right?
Yeah.
As humans in general.
Right.
They like, I ain't listening to that because I can do this over here. And we got to work together.
Right.
As parents, as a community, you got to work together. If you know this kid is what they say they're working on, what interventions, what plans we got in place, this is what we need to be working on.
Right.
Because that's going to create a better person in general and prepare them for society and prepare for, you know what I mean? So
Mike and Ray might know this from coaching. Like we deal with that. Like I used to coach high school football. You deal with it all the time. So you got these kids for 3 hours or 2 hours that you're coaching them, and then they get sent home back to their parents. And like you said, with being a single parent, like you can tell the difference between. I could tell the football players whose parents were both active. Like there was like literally you could talk to them eye to eye, face to face. The ones that didn't, it was just like single moms, mostly heads down, frustrated, emotional.
My son ain't playing.
I had the
kid.
I've had a mom come try to take their kid off the football field and stuff like that too. Like you see it, like, and like you were talking about boundaries. I think that's more so why I be trying to like tell like my friends and stuff like that. Like you gotta have boundaries with these little kids.
Yeah, you do.
Like there has to be a boundary, and I'm not saying like your boundary has to be a certain thing. I'm just saying have some boundaries because that creates a healthy relationship. And like you said, you do boundaries now in a controlled environment so that when they're in an uncontrolled environment, they know how to react.
Yes.
Because you put them in this uncontrolled environment, they like, oh, this is crazy. Like,
and they know how to navigate.
Right.
You know, they know how to do that.
It's
huge.
And I also think, us growing up as black men, like you said, passed on trauma, we was always taught, they were always, behind in the school. So our parents were always like, go to school. But they forgot about the EQ. They was only worried about the IQ. EQ being emotional. Intelligence. And that's lacking in our community as a whole right now. And that's why you see mental health and stuff like that flaring up right now today. So I think that was forgotten about as we were being raised.
Come on, what
even more just like piggybacking on what they talking about, like with the emotional intelligence, when you don't have a father present, you feel like reacting how a woman reacts is how you're supposed to react. And women are emotional, men are logical. Certain things, like, you know what I mean? If I always tell all my boys, if you make an emotional decision, you're gonna end up one or two places. Where?
Dead or in jail.
Every time. Like, it don't matter. If you emotional, is the end result is one or two things. You have to think about what you're doing and what's gonna happen if you react a certain way. As a man, if you're not taught that, like you behind the eight ball, right? And then you got a lot of situations where a single mother, they treating their son like they man. And now he feel like he a man talking to men, and men will humble you totally different than a woman will humble you.
Straight up.
I've seen it.
It's just these unspoken rules between men that just it's certain things a mother cannot teach her son.
Oh man, come on.
About being a man.
So then you see these little boys click up with friends that might not have the same struggles, and there's no emotional intelligence. So to piggyback off what you said, dead or in jail, I had a partner just get out in March. He was locked up for 7 years, and we was out probably about a couple weeks ago. He's like, man, just being out, it just made me think about all the stories in jail. It was just a bunch of people that just had one night of fun that turned wrong. That's really, they weren't bad people necessarily, but that one night of fun of not being expressed, what you might have just went through at home, you might have gotten into it with a friend. You just you might not even be able to express to that person that you beefing with, like, I don't want to kill you, but what's my problem with you? So our emotional intelligence, like, kind of piggyback off what you were saying, is
100%
so important in our community.
Where you could have had a conversation. Now somebody dead, somebody's son gone forever, somebody daddy gone, and
just
it really
that quick.
And you see it
behind that.
You see it every day in the news now. Like it's every day in the news.
You know?
Like you see that every day in the news now.
Yes, sir.
Like if you get into like grown ups conversations with women, it's like, you know, don't get into conversations that don't involve you. But when it's with men, it's like, you know what, go to your room.
Men are very strict. They like, hey, go to your room. You already know what it is, right? Because you are giving your expectations.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say this so you know better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Quick question: which one makes you react, or how does those both make you feel? Hearing those two different, or what's the difference of the two to you?
It's like with my mom, it's like, oh, I thought she was gonna actually do something about it. But with my dad, it's like, oh no.
He does something.
Yes.
He follows through.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I like that.
That's in my book. That's gonna be in the book.
That's a woman and a a mom and a dad.
Like you need
And
both.
That word.
But we can only talk about it. But what you did was, as a 10-year-old, you gave us your exact opinion and how you feel because it applied to you, and that's how you feel. Thank you so much for telling us that,
threatening
Tony.
don't work. I try
Thank
to
you
tell
so
parents all the
much.
time.
And I want to add one
Go
more
ahead.
thing
Yes,
before
sir.
you jump on. Like, we as men, we have to start working, and not just the men in this room, but just men in general. We have to learn boundaries for ourselves.
Yes.
Because the things that we allow to happen in our life, in our jobs, in our relationships, our children watch that. And so when we try to communicate to them emotional intelligence or setting boundaries or being able to communicate how you feel, but then we're not exemplifying that, it gets crossed up.
Yeah.
Because children see more of what we do, not so much what we say.
95% of communication is nonverbal, 5% is verbal.
Yep.
So if they see dad always yelling and screaming, and you trying to tell them that men are logical. Well, no, you're not showing them that men are logical. You're showing them that men are emotional, and that men make emotional decisions, and this is how you do it.
Go back to what
It's
Mike
funny
just
because
said.
Mike said, I think men are more logical and men are more emotional, but when it comes to decisions, women are more logical making a decision and men are more emotional based.
And also, I think it depends, because we're all sitting here, and I'm the only female sitting here talking. I think sometimes it depends on the person.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because I've
Always.
seen both. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, huh? And I've seen women who've dealt with emotional men and they stay with them and they just deal with it and da-da-da. But nobody's telling these men you behaving like this.
Right.
Nobody's checking them. You know, and that's why I wanted to get a room for just men. I'm just here to facilitate because I'm not a man. I can say about my experience in all three aspects or whatever, but my job is to get a voice to the men and let the men speak.
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
So basically, it's like, when you're saying that when men are yelling, like when people are yelling, the kids that are sitting there will do it as well, basically.
Right.
Eventually.
Yep.
Yeah. You all are going
They
to
would
follow
think
our
it's
example.
okay to do it.
100%.
And they need to be leading by example. So if daddy's doing wrong, then you remind him, hey, daddy, that's not what we're taught.
Right. And we're not here to be perfect.
No.
It happens to everybody. It
Uh-huh.
doesn't. You're gonna find out. Mike Jr.
I'm the third.
Right.
Yeah.
Third.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're gonna find out, and you're gonna find out very soon that masculine and feminine behavior types exist in everybody.
Yep.
Everybody.
You're
I
gonna
was just gonna
find
touch
out
on
it
that.
don't matter if you male or female,
Yep.
black or white, the same bad intentions
Yep.
and good intentions can be in anybody.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you gotta let go of stigmas.
Yeah.
There
So
you go.
that'd be the first thing you have to break down. Break down stigmas.
I'm not a fan of society's norms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to break down stigmas, and you have to, and growing up as young men, I'm just gonna open up on my part. I think really with the mental health, you have, of course, you have the inside of the home. If that's not going on well, then the outdoors gonna have you. The streets gonna get you. And that society is your peers. And then you have two ways of looking at that: how you all interact in school and how you interact after you get out of school. Because it's a different ball game. School, you up under hand of rules. You can't cuss, can't do this, can't do drugs. But you might end up doing those things as soon as you let out,
You can't
which can
fight.
take effect
You
of your
can't-
mind and your environment. And especially any man, I'll say this, I've always done it. Anytime we got our first car, some of us didn't even think it's mine. the thought we have is, I'm finna get this car and I'm finna get that girl. Anybody agree, disagree?
You moving around.
You moving around, but you know what it brings you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when we think about that, we don't think about what's your purpose in life. We base these things off who would be, like you said, the validation, who would see us, who would acknowledge us, who would give us praise.
What's the game? What we gonna get from this?
Right.
Yeah.
When you look at the praise factor, you know, because we're not taught to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
You're not talking about going within, seeking your own answers. Because again, when you're young, you're basing that off your peers.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And you're going to hear a lot of weird stuff growing up that's totally not true and totally not you.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what get people in a lot of trouble.
And that's what gets people in a lot
because it's
trouble.
not you and you forcing something.
That's a social learning.
It's a social learning.
Look here, I'm finna get to that, but I want to ask little Mike over there. Have you ever felt like there was no one to talk to about your mental health, based on what you said mental health was that you and your peers think? Have you ever? Make sure I'm clear. Have you ever felt like there was no one to talk about when it comes to your mental health, or what would make it easier for young men like you to open up?
No one, definitely not. Because even with the things that I can't bring to my dad or my mom, I'll go to my cousin or my friends. So is that for me personally, I don't ever feel like it's no one that I could talk to.
Okay.
But I think that making it easier to talk as far as like
young men
from a parent perspective, just allow your kid like the whole purpose of this is allow your kid to have a voice. Like if they don't,
you know what to say.
If they don't have a voice, then they're not gonna talk.
There you go.
What would that look like to you if let's say for instance your dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got something that you want to talk about, but you know he might have a reaction out of it that you don't want. What would it look like to you for him to allow you to have a voice? Paint that picture for me.
So, if it's like, it honestly, it depends on what was going on. But if it's something that I want to bring to him and I don't know, I'm uncertain of how he will react. Normally I'll just be like, Dad, can we talk? And then he'll be like, yeah, sure, we'll sit down. And then it'll just be a conversation. But I think that's kind of unique to us in a sense.
So just allowing you the space to express how you feel.
Just like being open to your kids. Like, and I think a lot of it comes from like past experiences, like, and reactions when your kid try to bring something to you, because the first time they want to bring something to you, they're going to bring it to you because they don't know that you like how you would react, or that it's going to be a negative reaction. But if you react negatively the first time, depending on your kid, you might not get a second time.
Come on.
Oh man.
So,
come on. You better talk to us.
So
that's good right there.
It's all about the reaction when your kid finally comes of age to where they want to bring things to you.
I think that's why I established a certain like parameter for my daughter. And one was, I'm your attorney. So when you go to school or wherever you're at, my job is to defend you first. I don't have any information. I don't know what's going on. If somebody calls me, you're in the right automatically. Now, once we get this broken down, if you're somewhere you weren't supposed to be, or you're doing something you weren't supposed to do, I can't defend that. You were wrong. So even if the intent was correct, you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and now I can't defend that. You watch enough law shows, you know how this works.
You being held
the
accountable.
evidence is the evidence. I can't do anything with that. So I give her a room to know that, hey, automatically I'm on your side.
On your side.
I'm going to bat for you. Like, and she's seen it. Like, she had a situation in school where she was like, I don't know if I'm gonna call my daddy to the school no more because he just went off on this man. But she walked out of that situation knowing that like my daddy got my back. So like it's like you said, like it's when you have the opportunity to be there for that kid and know like your kid can walk away like, all right, cool, I can have this conversation. We can address this, you know. And then another thing I told my daughter was, don't lie.
Yes.
Like from a young age. Like, don't even try to figure out what you finna say. Just give it to me raw. Because here's what we can do. We can fix it. It ain't the end of the world. We can fix it or figure it out some way. So whatever it is, don't try to get in your head and tell yourself, or don't let your friends get in your head and tell you like, hey, this is what you should do. Daddy already know it. Daddy done been through it. Daddy done saw it. Plus, you're a bad liar. I'm gonna let you know right now. Like, we've done this.
Right.
We've done it 3 times worse. I'm like, I got cameras everywhere in my house. You know, you got people with, like, we didn't have all this. We didn't have all this growing up. We could kind of be free to do stuff or whatever. Everything's recorded now for y'all.
And you observe them enough to know that.
And you know your kid. But everything
you don't normally do this.
Everything is
now you're doing this.
Everything's recorded.
Okay.
So it's like, don't allow them to get in your space and tell you like, hey, you're gonna mess up this conversation or this friendship that we have or this partnership that me and you've created. So don't lie about it. Like, tell me the truth and let's figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
That way you already know, like, hey, this is our relationship. Anything outside our relationship is something you're adding that's not normal. That's when it becomes a problem. But I'm your pops. You can bring anything to me. We can have a conversation about it, and you already know I'm defending you right off the bat. Until it's something I can't defend you on.
Yeah. Another thing I think as parents is a big thing you gotta learn. And I mean, I feel like, you just live and you learn, trials and tribulations. Is like, you can't be too tough on yourself as a parent. You know what I mean? Like,
give yourself grace.
With the kids, it's like, yeah, you want them to do X, Y, and Z, but at the same time, like you can't force them to do anything.
No.
So, you know what I mean? Like, give them that. Like Angel said earlier, like, let them up their head a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, it is what it is. Like, if you gotta bump your head a little bit, so miss out on some things, so you can see now as opposed to later in life. I'd rather that happen now than 10 years down the line and it be something that costs you more than you willing to pay. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a hard part for a parent because you wanna
put your hands on everything.
Like, you wanna be like, nah.
Yeah.
But sometimes you
gotta
know,
let it fall.
like and dads do. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, get on up. Dust stuff off.
Right.
You be all right.
Let go, let God.
Yeah.
Do you think society, anybody can answer this first, do you think society places certain expectations on men that affect your mental well-being?
100%.
What does that mean?
You're going to listen right now. We're going to talk to you. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, absolutely. I think anybody in this room can agree that that is a major thing. Because like I said earlier, when you're growing up and you're a teenager, you're not really thinking about tomorrow. You're thinking about right now. That's your focus. And then if you have friends and peers around you, depending on how you all behave or what you do as far as your diet is, again, behavior. If you want to feel equal to them, if you want to be buddies, you're going to either follow or you don't. Sometimes, wisdom will tell you don't follow. You might lose a friend. You might. But then you might not, but you will get backlash. And I think a lot of times, nobody wants to be rejected. So we 10 out of 10 choose to do these things because we do not want to experience rejection.
You said the word rejection, right? Anybody want to add on that? He said the word rejection, but my next question goes in with it also at the same time. Have you ever felt pressure to hide or suppress your emotions because of traditional views on masculinity?
Of course.
So he mentioned rejection,
100%.
and people don't want to be rejected, right? And so that's why I brought that in, the pressure to hide or suppress your emotions because of you're supposed to be this masculine. Anybody want to touch on that?
Yeah, I think a lot of that come from society too. Like he was saying earlier, as a man, especially a black man, is pushed through, and that's all it is. It ain't nothing else with that. It's pushed through, and if you let it get to you, if it hurts you in any way, you weak, and that's just and that's just like what it is. Growing up, that's always been what it was,
and that's what you see right now as a young man.
And also, I just piggyback on that, and then kind of like what we talking about with the norms and the stigmas of society. I tell all my friends I love them.
Come on.
I hug them all.
Yeah, no, I do
too.
too.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like this whole, that's gay and all that. Like, nah, like, it's feminine and masculine energy and everything.
Like he just said it earlier.
And it don't like because I tell you I love you, that don't mean this has nothing to do with sexuality.
Come on.
For me, it's because I lost so much. Like people, my cousin, he gonna hear this podcast and laugh. He thinks I'm like crazy because he's like, bro, you're always like I rarely see you upset. I'm like, bro, you know how many times I cried? You know how many nights I spent like crying myself to sleep because I've lost everybody. It feel like I've lost. I remember 2 years ago I went through a period like you were talking about where my tattoo artist got killed, my homegirl died in a car accident, and then my little cousin died in a car accident. We're talking about 10 days.
Ooh, that's a lot.
We're talking about 10. We're talking about from September the 29th.
Week and a half.
You don't got time no more than the first day.
Right. Like we're talking about from September the 29th to like October the 10th. And like 3 people, maybe October like 12th. It was maybe like 12 days, 2 weeks, where 3 people died. Like I love like you, bro. Yeah, I'm the one in the group text that's like, yo, I love y'all. I'm the one in the group text like, yeah, like make sure y'all, hey, when y'all get home, text me, make sure y'all get home safe. I don't care what kind of energy it is, cause like life's so fragile and like you see it every day. Like I think I woke up this morning and I read that a YouTuber or a podcaster was healthy and collapsed yesterday. Dude was like 26.
Yep, P2. Like somebody used to like play Fortnite and stuff.
So 26, nothing wrong with him, bro. Life is life. I lost my mom last year in June. Life is like I don't take nothing for granted. It can be gone tomorrow.
So you don't suppress or hide your emotions.
I'm not hiding a thing, bro. If I feel a way about you, I'm gonna let you know about it. We're gonna either have a conversation or I ain't gotta say nothing to you.
That's
right. Like and that's how I live it. Like I'm not holding on to nothing. You not like people like me and my cousin's talking about like people having conversations about people and talking and gossiping and all the stuff that goes on in life. And it's like I don't have time for. I don't care.
Nope.
Yeah.
Like people like you it don't bro, like rejection don't bother me. I've been in sales my whole life. I've dealt with customer service my whole it's a rule 1 out of 10. You're gonna get 1 out of 10. You're 10%. You either gonna get it or you're not. The only way you can get it is if you ask. If you don't ask, you'll never get the opportunity to be in that room or you'll never get the opportunity to make that sale or make that offer or make that pitch. Like I don't have time to dwell on the negativities of life, to dwell on the no's, to dwell on the what ifs. Traveling, we talked about traveling earlier. Traveling is, man, look, I went to Barbados and went to like the highest peak of Barbados and just cried the whole time. Because I'm a kid from the projects and I wasn't supposed to be there.
Come on.
You told me I wouldn't make it out the hood. You told me I'd be dead before I was 18.
Yeah.
I was not supposed to be in Barbados, where Rihanna from, on a mountaintop.
And I'm just looking at the water.
And I'm just looking at the earth. Like you see everything.
You were never supposed to leave St. Louis.
Bro, come on.
What?
Come on.
Like every time I touch down in a different place, I literally I pray and I cry because it's like, bro, like you're not supposed to be in these places. You're not supposed to. Like I travel with my daughter. I take her to somewhere for her birthday every year. I stopped doing birthdays. I stopped doing birthdays because I wanted to create a memory with her that she could carry on for the rest of her life. That she could stamp. She would have it like, yo, me and my dad's been here. We gonna hit every state. We're gonna hit every many countries. Like she already. I'm like, man, I need to take out a new job. But she 16. We going to Thailand for a 16-year-old birthday. I'm like, whoa, okay.
Experience.
But it's like she don't understand. Like it's the therapy of it. Like to like know that like I got this little girl with me, and like wherever she wants to go, we can go. Wherever she wants to go, I have the ability to take her wherever I gotta do. We gonna get her there just so she can experience and be like, my pops took me to that place. That's therapeutic, and like I said, no matter what form of therapy you find therapy somewhere.
I want to ask you this, and for all the brothers that are here, when you talk about on the getting to the other side of being able to feel comfortable and be in your and exercise mental wellness in your life, can y'all speak to the challenge that comes with going from the past way you dealt with things to the way you deal with things now?
Great question.
I mean, it's being open, being honest. Being and I ain't talking about like telling your business to the world, but I'm saying like being honest with yourself. Like, all right, this is who I am. This is what I enjoy about myself.
Right.
This is what I don't like about myself. Here are my fears, my doubts, and the things I struggle with.
So,
and it's literally like going through those checklists daily and like, okay, boom, boom, boom. This is who I am. And like my thing is like, I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
Right.
Like I'm not like either like the people that love me. Like I'm an amazing person to be around. And if you don't like me because of something you've heard or somebody else said something or something you've never even experienced me, that's your loss. Or if you've experienced me and it just didn't work out,
That's okay too.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I did whatever it was to the best of my ability to make sure that you were in my life.
And to be yourself.
And to be myself, like, because I got to be myself at the end of the day. And I'm okay with losing you or you not being a part of my life. I think that's the big thing. Like, I'm okay with you not being a part. Like, it didn't work. I don't think people be okay with, like, even dating. Like, on a dating scene, like, you date people and then, like, they want to hold on. Yeah. And I'm like, for what? Like, we could just be cool. It didn't work. We don't match. I like to stay up to 2 o'clock in the morning. You like to be in bed at 5 p.m. It ain't gonna work. And that's okay. You're an amazing person. It takes nothing away from who you are. It just doesn't fit what I'm looking for right now.
Yeah.
So it's a part of it is just being okay with you. I feel like once you're okay with you and realizing and then another thing is you can't change people. Like you can't.
They have to be able to do it, just like we talked about.
Not even that. Like if they never do it. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If you're not okay with if I'm not okay with him wearing khakis, I can't let that bother. Like either I'm gonna let it bother me or I'm just gonna remove myself. But if I force myself to be around him and he wearing khakis every day, I'm crazy.
Do you think? Because what I'm hearing you say is like there's an element of losing people, right? Do you have to lose people in order to grow into this version of yourself?
Absolutely.
It's boundaries, yeah.
Everybody
the boundaries you talked about. Everybody can't.
Everybody ain't meant to go where you going.
And I personally,
Go ahead,
just to
Rashawn.
talk about my story, I retired, May 10th. I was in the hospital by May 12th, not knowing what happened. My appendix burst, but I'm so used to push through. I ain't turned septic telling myself it's food poison. I ain't been home. I've been going out the country the last 10 months. I'm in the bed. My granny say, get up, you got to go. You ain't moved in 2 days. It's unlike you. So I got a midline incision from top of my stomach, 2 JP drains over here. So I went from like 190 pounds to 140, 130 pounds just all May, all June. I'm in the hospital. I get out, I got a PIC line in all the way to July 29th. I have my second child. Then I'm retiring from basketball. So this has all been a transition. So throughout that, I had to find them boundaries with people. And then not usually being home, I also had to find boundaries within myself. I can't go do this. I can't go over there.
Sit
might
down.
have to do this. Sit down. Which also translate into, all right, I didn't get the message. I'm running myself raggedy, trying to be here for everybody. Kind of, the stigma. He changed. He was over the other night. Oh, no, I'm still pulling up. I'm here. But I had to get out of that because I just got out of coma 2 months ago.
Wasn't nobody there neither.
And don't nobody really understand that. I was in a coma from lack of sodium and potassium. Well, you get those directly from sleeping and eating. Stressed, trying to be there for my kids, trying to coach basketball, trying to do all these things. So I wake up out of coma, coaching a basketball game. Was that January 29th? I wake up on February 3rd, like trying to pull the tubes out. What's going on? That's a month ago. And then I would turn around, win a state championship the next week. But the biggest lesson I probably took away from all of that was you got to have boundaries within, not only with others, but within yourself.
Yes.
Eating, I had to find that routine again as a professional athlete. It was, I got to eat before I work out. I know I got practice at 11. I got to wake up, eat breakfast, meditate, do my normal routine, which transitioned me into writing a book that gave these morning habits, these nightly habits, routines and stuff. And, it was just kind of piggyback off everybody else. Kind of this whole conversation was trying to get away from the stigmas of, he got away from home, he don't come back. Well, forget that. What are they doing? Because every time I left from overseas, I leave for 10 months, I come home for 2 months, and the people are still.
In the same.
They still.
Come on.
Still doing the same thing, still doing
Come on.
whatever. And, it made me also think back to, being Mikey age, being an athlete, bro. I had friends that, every game, we one of the best teams in the state. They probably hate me for this, but almost all our kids were smoking before the games, They, leave Ray, after parties, Ray can't touch nothing. He all-state quarterback, point guard, don't give him nothing. We all got cases. We all in trouble in school. He got an honor roll. I had a couple friends, partners of my peers like, Ray don't do that. You know, and that probably saved my life and kept me from turning the other way. Yeah. As I grow up and I see other friends or peers that are now not with us no more that turn to those things at that age. You know, and probably was better athletes than me at the time. You know, RP Cam B-Shot, you know, one of my brothers, you know, the streets kind of got a hold to him because maybe he didn't have those periods that I had that I was blessed to have to say, we got cases, we got, Ray can't do this.
I was going to ask that. Is that, so Mikey, is that like, so you're an athlete, right? Growing up, like he said, like I grew up playing sports too. I couldn't do certain things. Like I couldn't smoke. I couldn't be in certain places because somebody might pull up and shoot. Yeah. So you can't be here because if you get out, everybody get out the hood. Like it was more, I guess it was more so like you were the ticket for the hood, so everybody was protecting you. Does that still exist nowadays? I feel like the younger kids are getting shot too.
I think it exists to a certain extent. For me, like it's everywhere you go, especially being in St. Louis, there's always the risk of something going down. Okay. It don't matter where you at. But as far as like people getting into things that maybe they shouldn't be getting into, nah, that's not really around for real. Everybody experimenting with their own stuff. And you know, if it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. Especially now, I think everybody leave that decision up to the person that's making their decisions. Like everybody leave it up to themselves. Like you could say whatever to somebody, but it don't really matter. They're gonna do what they want to do.
They're gonna make those decisions.
Yeah.
So if you messed up right now, right? So you have your mom and your dad present. So is it easy for you? Like Lil Ray was like, I'm not doing that. It's easier for you to say, man, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's not what you were meant to do. You're not taking that chance because you're looking at bigger things.
For sure.
And I think that's crucial. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. We talked about it, but like me, I had peers that were all doing it. But I had a couple peers that when one of them would try, they would be like, nah, do you have, because at the end of the day, you can't we in St. Louis. It's hard to control our surroundings. We all gonna come and see something growing up. So do you have any of those peers that might be like, you know, that could tell you right from wrong and you respect it and listen? Or is it kind of you gonna do what you want to do and find out if it's for you? Most
of my peers like kind of like look to me for that stuff.
Your circle.
So I can't really, like it's harder for me to answer that. I don't really see it with people that are the same age, but I see it more with people that are like that have an age gap, like big brother, little brother type stuff, where it's like, nah, don't even. That ain't you.
Yeah. So to kind of to get off of that was, you know, we kind of talked about earlier how fathers got to be held accountable. You being the one they look at, don't you feel like you need to be held accountable still, although you are that guy?
For sure.
So
for sure,
that's something maybe lacking in the youth.
Yeah.
We look up to somebody and think automatically since they look up to you, should we come to him for the answer? So if he don't got the answers, then where do they go?
Are you setting an example?
Am I setting an example for my peers? I think so.
Good. I know it wasn't a challenge, and it was straightforward. I'm very straightforward. That's great. And as long as you think that, that's how you're gonna behave. Like you know better. If you know better, you're gonna do better. And so otherwise, you're gonna do what we were just talking about. You're gonna take that chance. You're gonna jump off the porch. But you looking like nah, and you just try to tell them what you can. Like you know, and other than that, they gonna do whatever they want to do. Just like parents, they do whatever it is they need to do. And if you decide to mess up, we gonna all go back to the Male's Mental Matter episode and be like, this boy know he just said like we know you don't blame them. And people start on social media talking about who is his parents? We gonna come up real quick. We know who his parents are. They did what they were supposed to do. You see what I'm saying? I'm just giving an example of how the cycle goes. You know what I'm saying? And that's my job is to expose you to this environment. You got coaches, doctors, therapists. You got a bit of everything right here in front of you. You on a platform where you learning and you have a voice. We hear you. And we need to learn. And the question I was going to ask you is, what do you wish adults or older generations understood more about the mental health struggles young men face today?
That's a great question. What do I wish they understood more?
I mean, this all of us right here.
Yeah.
Literally, this all of us.
That this ain't back in the day no more.
No, I think y'all got that down packed for real. that just cause we are kids or whatever, that don't mean we can't go through stuff.
That's it.
And even if like you talk about coming from a certain background or having a certain struggle, even if you do like whatever people struggle different. So your kid's struggle is not going to be the same as your struggle.
Right.
So just be open to that and allow them to be able to have the space to go through stuff.
Well, you better talk to me.
Right.
All I wanted you, it wasn't a hard question. Speak your mind. Speak your mind. Ain't no script. And I understand you. I hear you. And that's what I wanted to hear anyways. Because people that watch this episode, whether it's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people, 5 people, they're going to hear that. Right. And I want them to digest what you stated and to think about it. We have conversations because we want people to think about it. As a therapist over there, he had these conversations because he want to help. But the job of a therapist is not to just tell you what you're going to be doing. No. You got to work through it.
Right. And we don't have the answers.
That's it.
People look at therapists like, well, you should know, you should have your life. It's like, no, my life be jacked up too.
Yeah.
my job is not to tell you the answers because I don't have them. You have them.
Correct.
My job is to help you find the answers within yourself.
That's it.
That work for you.
Yes.
Church.
Because this ain't about me. Because if I'm giving you the answers, it's about what I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about me when you come into my office. It's about what do you think and how is that working for you in your life? Should you change your thinking? Should you change your behavior? Is how you feel. Yeah, it's how you feel, but is it rooted in something that's true or untrue?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about you. It's not me, you know? And so I love what you said there about like we go through things too, because I think us as parents sometimes we see y'all going through things and we like, man, I went through that too. Mm-hmm. And we make it about ourselves and we dismiss what you're going through. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, sometimes, I'm having conversations with them about, hey, girls. I'm like, man, he in 5th grade. I'm like, man, when I was in 5th grade, this is what I went through. Mm-hmm. And it becomes more of a conversation than me telling him what to do or how to behave in a situation, and now not only does that help him to understand, but it also builds a bond between, men and young men, to be able to have those conversations where both goes back to both voices being heard.
Come on. Yes. Do everybody in here outside of this room, instead of me asking this, I'm going to ask, are you able to have conversations about mental health with friends and family and everything? Does everybody?
I was going to ask that. Actually, I was going to ask you that.
Because I definitely do. I have conversations with my wife, of course, because she's a therapist as well. And then we kind of in the same field. Yeah. Criminology, criminal justice, everything that I do, and I've had to study all that, learn all of that. Sociology, I did. That's part of my degree as well. So for us, it's great, and that's how I was able to get through. Because we talked about grief when I lost my great grandmother. You mentioned like the 10 days. In a span of like maybe 4 or 5 months, I probably lost like 5, 6 people or whatever. But when I lost my great grandmother, that's what started my nonprofit, Martha's Angels. That's who my book, Navigating the Storm, is dedicated to, because she wrote her book at 83, her autobiography. And we would talk about all that. That was my best friend, heart and soul, walking down. I was walking down the streets of Dubai talking to Big Mama. She told me, I declare, Angel, what are you doing out there? I said, Grandma, I'm walking. Then there's this little club I'm gonna go to with like 6 people in there, but I'm gonna go. It's a hookah bar, Grandma. I'm just going because I'm by myself. I went to Dubai by myself. But I would say, Grandma, the veggie burger and fries is $3 American money. I'm gonna go walk and get that. Right. But it was my piece. So to take that from me or whatever, like he said, everybody get expiration date. She was 93 years old. I went through a breakdown, depression. Yeah. I went through it. Yeah. But I also had to realize 93 years, baby, she lived through all of it. Because when I talked to her, she'd be like, she reading the paper. She's like, the news is just, she would look at that, but she's lived through so much. Yeah. Survived COVID. You couldn't go in her house. She's high risk. Oh, yeah. And so when you look at all of that, all of that just plays a role, and I think about it so much. And I have the conversations with Kaylee all the time. It's normal in our household. You know, so is it normal in your household or with your friends, your family, your peers? Like, does anybody, like, I want to know outside of this conversation, or does it have to be Angel saying, I'm going to bring these select people together? Can you talk about it with your circle?
Yeah,
I think. Oh, go ahead.
No,
Come on, talk.
I
I
was just
love
gonna
it.
say, yeah, no, me and my circle, I would say if you fast forward to 5 years ago, or probably 2 years ago, no. But now today, I think, you know, I just recall when you asked that question, a few friends, you know, telling me about stories or something they're going through and telling me how they feel. You know, or coming to me just to express, you know, or even me being able to go to them and talk to them about whatever I may want to talk about, or what I'm going through, or maybe what's going on in my life. So I feel like I have that in my life currently.
Good. Go ahead, Marco. You got
Yeah,
it?
I for me, it's like I'm the therapist line. Like
Mhm.
I created a list of like, and that's why I was asking your wife
Uh-huh.
about the information. Like I created a list of like African American, because when I was going through what I was going through, I was like, dang, they did it. They sent me to EAP, and I was like, this lady's like a 75-year-old white woman. She not gonna be able to help me at all. So
Yes.
I was like, I mean, more power to her, but I need somebody to look like me that, you know,
Relate.
can kind of relate to what I've been through, even if it ain't, you know, growing up in the hood. It's like, you know, you grew up in the same culture. So I end up like just creating a list of African American therapists in St. Louis that like I give out to my friends, people on Facebook, people on social media of all kinds. Like if I see somebody I'm scrolling, they're like, I'm looking for a therapist, boom, let me inbox you this list. You're more than welcome to use it. You know, if you want to give a review, let me know. If they're not taking clients, hit me back, let me know so I can take them off the list. And even with like my family and friends, like I've opened the door for like my family to like start going to therapy. My mom, before she passed, was open to going to therapy, where my mom was the one that told me, like, that's white people magic. You ain't gonna see you no sit down and talk to somebody about my feelings. Nah,
Ain't
so
gonna change that.
so but to hear her have a conversation like before she passed, like I would go to therapy. Like I see I've seen what it's done for you. I see how like at ease your life is now and how much you peel back since going to therapy. And then like I had a brother that went through a traumatic loss, and like his first call was to me, and that blessed my spirit because it was like I knew I went through what I went through because for this moment, and it brought it back full circle.
Safety
like
line. You're a safety line.
it brought it back like, okay, this is why I had to go through this, because if not, he would be way worse than what he was going through. Like, hey, bro, I need you to make that call to this therapist now. I need you to call him, figure out what it is, why you feel like this, what's the breakdown, what's the disconnect. You know, you're going through a lot. You're going through a divorce. You almost lost a child. You know, it's a lot going on. So I need you to peel back the onions. Let's peel back these layers and see what's going on. So for me, I am the person that, like, you know, I bring up the conversations, like,
that's good.
you know, who's
Somebody
going to
gotta lead
therapy,
it.
who's going to therapy, how's everybody mental health doing. And I know for me, I've actually pulled back a lot because, like you said, like losing somebody, I lost my bird. Like that was my road dog, my sidekick, that's my mom. So like having her gone, like it slowed me down a little bit. Like this last year, and it was like I really had to figure out me. Like okay, like because it's a piece of you gone. Like losing your mom is like, I don't wish it on nobody. I tell everybody that like it's a different type of grief, but it also opened up more avenues of therapy and more in-depth thoughts and more boundaries and more just thinking on, you know, who you are as a person.
Yes. What about you, Evan? You have many people that you talk to about it?
Every day.
Good.
I'll use you as an example. When we talk, when we meet up at the local bar, I mean, this is our conversation. I mean, it's always a healthy conversation. It's nothing, no foolishness. To be honest, I would rather talk to you than quite a few people that I socialize with.
That's my normal conversation. Go and connect and relax.
And there's nothing wrong with those
down.
other people or nothing like that. It's just that, as you say, sometimes the conversation is not my cup of tea, and I really don't know how to or engage with you too much without you feeling like I maybe be looking at you stupid, which I am. You know, at times, which I am, but not because right. But not because, you know, I think you're really ignorant, nothing like that. I just know you haven't really got that clarity on why you're going through what you're going through. And I've also learned with wisdom, if they don't ask me, I'm not giving my input because that's boundaries. I also have to understand amongst other men, that's a boundary. Most men don't know that. Sometimes you can be with your homeboy, but they may not too much care for your opinion. They just might want to vent. So I had to use wisdom, and sometimes I ask, you want to vent? We just want to talk about it. Which one?
Yeah.
If they tell me they want to vent, I'll be like, all right, yeah, bro. Yep. I feel exactly what you're saying,
They
bro.
don't
Yep.
they don't want they just want to just get it out.
Which is healthy too. Sometimes it's healthy. They just want to get it out.
Yeah.
Even with my lady, when we talk, she know my intrusive thoughts. Sometimes, like, I share a lot of stuff with her. She listens to understand.
Good.
Literally. So, like, as therapists in the room, you are one, she is one as well. These people are my therapy. Talking to them is my therapy. I'm not debunking therapy for anybody, but if you're gonna talk to some people that got a sound mind.
I agree with. I agree with. Even with therapy though, like I ask questions. Like I tell people all the time, like your consultation should be a date almost. Like it's like I promise you. Like my therapist was like when I went to my new therapist, she was like, I've never had anybody ask me questions. I was like, really?
Right.
I was like, no, I need to know, like, hey, if you've been divorced, how does that affect your relationship, on your thoughts on relationships? Like, because if you're leading me somewhere, I need to know, like,
is it
safe to follow?
Like, is it, so, and then
or is it biased?
I'm not overly religious, but I'm a very spiritual person when I walk with God. Like, what's your relationship like with God? Like, and like, it's crazy because like my therapist got me to stop having nightmares. But had I not asked those questions, man, I would have never known. And like I had been going to therapy before that, but it was her and like who she is as a person and the qualifications I was looking for in this next step of therapy. My next journey was like, okay, let's ask these because I need to progress in this. I can't stay the same. I got to progress in it. So those questions led me on a spiritual. Like my therapist is a spiritual woman, and she was like, okay, let me step back and here's what I need to give you outside of the therapy realm. I suggest this, and this, and maybe this may help you with what you're struggling with.
Yeah. I wish, growing up I had, because when you touched on that, I grew up, going through a lot. So, I used to have so many nightmares. Before I went to bed, I was praying to God. I just didn't even want to have a drink.
Yeah.
Just to avoid even, I wouldn't have enough good dreams. So it was just like, please God, don't let me have any dreams.
Like, I don't see nothing.
I don't want to see nothing.
Yeah.
And I ain't had nobody to go to the event.
I was just
like you say, you had the therapy to help. I ain't had nobody to go to, or at least I didn't feel like I had somebody to go to for that. So, instead I'm just going to God. I don't want to dream at all.
Right.
As a kid at 10, 11, 9, so.
Can I ask you two, because you said something about dreams. Is it because of where your mindset, your state of thinking was at the time?
No, it was trauma. It was just trauma.
Well, that's what I meant.
So like, I could be transparent real quick. My nightmares were dying in my sleep, like violently dying. Like I had seen it. So like naturally it was like getting robbed, like being like, I'm talking about like some of the wildest, like wildest dreams is like being in a bank heist and I'm in a bank and somebody like putting one to my dome and like pulling it.
What you do in your past life?
I can't speak. Mine was a lot of trauma too, just growing up and just, we growing up in the city on the north side, somebody barbecuing.
I'm from the hood.
Somebody stealing stuff off the barbecue, stealing, this back in the 90s, stealing the fuses out the fuse box, stuff like that. I'm growing up out of old VPA. We playing football, Killer Man. They don't even play that no more.
I don't even.
We playing that. Sandlot football, no pass, no nothing. Right. I'm growing up with that. shooting on a milk crate. I'm shooting on a milk crate. The kids all shooting BB guns at the pole where the milk crate at. I get hit in the head with the BB gun. And mind you, I'm playing football. I just see a bunch of flashes and hear loud, and the car speed off and the police pulling up in the next 30 minutes. So, just growing up seeing that at 6, 7.
Chaos.
Translating as I get older, I'm steady seeing stuff. It was like my brain was just filled with so much trauma and stuff. Like, I'm 8. I'm lighting the paper on fire to put it under the oven to light the stove on fire so to get some gas. So that's not normal, the stuff we were going through. And I think that's the trauma, like he said, was causing those dreams or those images to flare in our head on top of the movies. And
I would say
set it off at 10, 11.
So I don't watch hood movies.
I don't watch scary movies at night.
I don't watch like, and people think it's weird. Like I couldn't tell you the last time I watched Minister Society.
Yeah.
Or Boys in the Hood or like movies.
You relate to it.
Movies that like I grew up in that. Like I'll give you the movie that I cannot watch. I watched the first 5 minutes of it. 2 movies actually. I can't watch that movie about the New York 6.
I ain't even watched it.
I've never even watched
I
it.
can't.
Chadwick Boseman?
I don't want
No,
to
not Chadwick
what-
Boseman.
I
You
know
talking
it's
about
the-
when they not when they see us.
Yeah, I think that is when
When they see us.
That's when they see us.
Central 45.
Central Park 5. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's when they see us. That's what
Yeah,
that's
that's
what the
what it's
documentary
called.
called.
I
Okay,
can't-
he said New York 6.
Oh,
I
my
was-
bad. The Central, when they see us, I can't watch that. And what's the movie with Monique where she had the daughter? Was she like abusive? I
Precious.
can't watch Precious. I literally know some Preciouses where their mom, like, she had to raise her sisters. I can't watch that movie. It literally takes me back to that to these girls I know who like their mom was so abusive to them. Like I watched literally the first 3 minutes of Precious and turned it off. I'm like, I can't watch this.
Because you know it. Because you really went through it.
Like
Somebody
it literally
that's empathy.
like that's literally like your life. And I don't think people be understanding that. Like that's like
You
it's
empathize with them.
it's the lifeline. Like rap music. I've never been a Bootsy fan. Because like it's certain things that they rap, bro. Like I've lived this.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived this life. Like
It's not entertainment.
It's not entertainment, bro. It's a trauma.
It's not. It's real.
Like,
It's real life.
It's real life. Like, bro, my brother was the biggest crip growing up in the cock. Like, bro, I'm like straight. This how traumatic your life is, bro. I didn't wear red till I was 19. I didn't even realize it. My first pair of red shoes were my Jordan 17s. Like, and you like subconsciously you don't know that until somebody points it out to you. Like, I didn't realize that until I was in the barbershop one day and my barber cut hair in the cock ring. And he's like, I've never seen you in red.
Who's your barber?
His name is Mr. Keith.
Okay.
I like he was like, I've never seen you in red. I was 19. He's like, I've never seen you in red until now. And it's because I had on some white and red Jordan 17s. And I'm like, that's crazy.
It was a learned behavior. It was,
but
just
it was
what you got from
like
back then.
it was you either and I tell people I'm a Cowboys fan. In the Cocking, you either wore blue, you either wore the Cowboys or you wore the Raiders. Yeah. Like it was pushed on, like it literally was a cultural like there was no, and you don't realize it until you're an adult and you can look back like, oh dang. Mm-hmm. Oh snap. Like that's what so the nightmares was just like literally when that incident happened at Ballpark Village, those nightmares got worse. Like it was like I would have a nightmare and it wasn't no big deal. When Ballpark Village happened, it unlocked every trauma, I had, every experience. It brought everything that I had pushed to the back. Cause like I have a bad memory from like suppression. Like my therapist told me that. She was like, you don't remember stuff because you taught yourself not to remember certain things. You conditioned yourself to like if it's bad, like I used to get in arguments with my exes. Like they'd be like, bro, you don't remember the argument we just had? Because traumatically, if it was something that I didn't want to address,
Put it out your mind.
I put it out my mind. I literally forgot about it. And to this day, like my cousin, he'd be like, hey, what's old girl name? I'm like, I don't know. Cause she's out my mind. Mm-hmm. If it's something that was traumatic about that, like where it was like I associated that with a trauma, I have to go look it up or something like that, or I can't remember. Like I'm talking about whole people gone. Like out, like completely. But also with that, I'm not mad at that because that's also how I have peace. Mm-hmm. Because if I relate that to trauma, then that means that was a negative connotation in my head or a negative thought that I associate with you with. That don't belong. I don't want that a part of me anyway. So boom, gone.
Tony, with your family and friends, do you have open conversations? Or,
he is a therapist.
Yeah.
You know, but I gotta get him the floor because I really want to hear it.
You know, it's so funny.
I got something for Lil Mike.
It's so funny because
he next.
People that like know I'm a therapist, so that's I have a little dilemma because sometimes I'm just having conversation,
and they be like, "Don't therapy
people
me."
Be like, "Oh, he a therapist."
Don't therapy me.
And the thing is, I've always been this person. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like even at a young age, you know, one of my mentor always said, you know, therapists are born, they're not made. And I can recall back to even as early as middle school being people just randomly talking to me about things. Like, and my ability to hold space before I knew what holding space was, for someone to just express themselves in a way that maybe they never expressed it to anyone else. And so I was always able to see people differently than everybody else saw because the conversation I might have with that person might have been something that was super vulnerable. I'm like, man, I see you in a totally different light. I know you're walking around in school acting this way, but I know how you feel. Right. You know, but fast forward into today, I think a lot of times I have a lot of conversation with people. People are always calling me to process stuff. You know, even for me, like when I'm going through things, like I have a therapist. I've been seeing my therapist since 2019. And even with him, like I process with him. I mean, my therapist is an older white guy, you know. I don't have no problems with anyone else, but that was the person that I really connected to. But just like family and friends, yeah, I have a lot of conversations with people that I will add this aspect to it. I think I find that I'm able to have more conversations surrounding mental health when it comes to women. I think when I'm around a lot of guys, and I think you kind of spoke to it a little bit. I think a lot of times when I'm around men, it's not that dialogue, that type of dialogue, that type of vulnerability is non-existent. It's like, no, we ain't really talking about it. Now, if I get one-on-one with somebody, then maybe. But together in a group like this, I'm not having no mental health conversations. But I can get around women, and boom, there's vulnerability, there's expression of emotion, and now it's like, oh wow, now I have a organic conversation about who I am. Like now I can have those conversations.
Good. You know, hear from a woman's perspective.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm here, because I get to hear from all these beautiful men just talking and having this conversation.
Yeah,
and so personal experience and professional experience, because I can leave this room and somebody be like, "Man, men don't do that." I'm like, "Now that you're delusional." Because they do. Because they do. And it's normal. Maybe your men don't do that. And just like you said, you can't get around and, you got to find those ones that will do it. Leave it up to Angel. She going to pinpoint those good men. Good people. Mike, talk to me.
For me, I'm like a unicorn. So I say I'm like the therapist in my group. Everybody kind of call me for the stuff. But to your point, like before we start the conversation, bro, you trying to vent or are we speaking in solutions? I'm big on that. Like, I don't like a whole lot of negative energy. So if you just want to vent, let me know, because I'm really not gonna listen. I'm just gonna be like, yeah, that's crazy. Like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to vent, like you just want to get it out. Because sometimes I just want to like, man, what you think about this? I really don't care. I just want to tell you the story. Yeah. Like you gonna tell me something, like, yeah, whatever. I just want to get it out. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I'm in a space where, all right, bro, man, tell me if I'm wrong. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like we want to speak in solutions, that's cool. But, like, sometimes you just got to vent. Like, you just want to say some stuff, and that's cool. But I'm too positive with my thinking. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. You know what I'm saying? It's just transferred. So I'm all about positive energy. And if my energy negative, I try to get away from people. I'm not try. Because y'all was saying try a lot. And I was going to piggyback on that too. Big thing I say, what I live my life by, trying is having intent to fail. It's do or do not. So either you do it or you don't. So like, well, I tried. Did you do it? All right, you didn't. And that's like, accountability, like just kind of like that old school we was talking about earlier, like being a man. Like it's certain things like as a man, you gotta handle. You know what I mean? And if you can't handle it, there's nothing wrong with that. But like open up, like speak. Like we all need help. And I think part of the being a man, one of the stigmas you gotta break is like you can't ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. Everybody need help. You know what I mean? And it's like a lot of people don't. I struggle with accepting help. You know what I mean? Like if you offered to help me and I need it, I might say no the first time. You know what I mean? Even though I need it, I was like, nah, I'm cool. Like, nah, you sure, bro? Like, man, go ahead, bro. Come on. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times that kind of go with knowing who you talking to, like knowing your friend group, like knowing your friends, like those relationships. Some people you can go to with certain things, some people you can't. And then some of your friends, especially your strong friends, they not as strong as they portray. And it's okay for you to step in like, bro, I know, but I got you, bro. Like, don't even worry about it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta force it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, bro, just let me help you. Like, all right, bro, come on.
How do you define negative energy?
So to me, negative energy is really just kind of like the intent. So like if I'm telling you about my business endeavors, right, or something I got going on, and all you want to tell me is about like the stuff that can't, like, man, you gotta worry about this, man, such and such doing that too, and you sure you want to? I don't need none of that. You know what I mean? But if it's a place like, all right, bro, well, did you think about this? You got this in place? You ready for that? Like, I support it, but, just know what you're getting into. It's different. You know what I mean? It's not what you say, is how you say it. And then, like the intent behind it. So, if you a person that's always trying to down others or something like
Glass
that,
half empty.
you somebody I don't even like. Our conversation gonna be super limited. You know what I mean? But if you always pushing, positivity, you pushing like for people to be better, they better version of themselves and stuff like that. If you got something for me, I'm for it. I'm gonna receive that, even if it's something I might not want to hear. If it's something I need to hear, like I'm with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it may seem like, oh, that's something negative. Like, nah, it's not negative, but it's just, something that I do need to change on myself. And they recognize that, and they are in a space where they can bring it to me where I can receive it. You know what I mean? So just really like the intent of the energy behind it.
Kind of to also piggyback off the other thing, asking for help. I currently can't drive. I had a Tesla, I crashed it, had 2 seizures back to back. That's when they induced me in the coma a month ago. So I can't drive for the next 6 months. But me being me, I'm used to being the independent, the one providing and do for everybody.
Yeah.
So now I'm in a different space in my life of I have to ask for rides, I gotta call people, I'm not used to that. And I'm not used to asking for help because I was always the one pushed through, figure it out.
Right.
And I was always the one coming from my background, my family that did figure it out. So now I'm in a place, where it transitioned me, where I'm not a professional athlete anymore. I'm not the provider. You got to ask for help. You got to depend on others. But sometimes I still struggle with it. So I wanted to ask you, like, what kind of helps you, step outside the box? Like, you know what? I can accept this help. I can go ask for this help.
The biggest thing for me was just I'm trying to put too much on myself, and it caused like a series of failures, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, shit, if I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna do everything I can not to fail. Right. You know what I mean? So if that means I gotta ask for help, I'm gonna ask for help. And if, the help don't come through, then it don't come through. But I can't say I didn't do everything that I could to help myself in that situation. Because at the end of the day, the only way you can help somebody is to be the best version of yourself. And if you need help, ask for it. You know what I mean? Like, closed mouth don't get fed. It's people that's willing to help you that you don't even realize help you. But if they don't know, you know what I'm saying? Because you so used to being a strong one, used to be the one that figure it out all the time, which that's definitely me. I'm the guy that, Mike got it. Damn, hold on. Like, I ain't got it right now. Like, I need some help, actually.
Yeah, straight up.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's okay letting yourself know that it's okay to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're not always gonna be there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Life is ups and downs. So you down right now, which you're not even really down a lot of people's eyes, but to you, you down. You're not gonna be there. Right. You know what I mean? So it's okay to be in that space. Like, and it's okay to allow yourself to be in that space because I'm not gonna stay right here. But this is where I'm at right now. I need to navigate through that. And if I need to ask for help, that's where I'm at right now.
And even that, the not asking for help, that's a trauma response, right? Because when we talk about like the fear of rejection, there have probably been some times in your life where maybe you needed help and you weren't given it. And so before you ever felt that way again, you said, I'm always going to be uber independent. I'm going to be super reliant, self-reliant on myself. People can come to me for help, but I'm never going to anyone else. And all that's rooted out of is the fear of rejection, right? And so sitting with yourself and saying, hey, I'm really scared to ask for help. Like, just sitting with that.
Yeah.
You ain't got to do nothing with it. You ain't got to change it. It's okay. I'm scared to ask you for some money because I'm struggling right now and I don't want to do that, but I know I need to. Right. And being able to sit with that and honor those feelings and actually take steps and be intentional about working through that and say, you know what, maybe I start here. Maybe I find who in my life do I trust? All right, boom. I'm going to try asking for help from these people. Maybe it's something small. Maybe it's for a stick of gum. Maybe it's for $5. Hey, just let me practice this. Let me practice this new skill that I'm trying to work through so that I can overcome the traumas of my life. Right. Yeah. And then maybe you build up to a higher one where, hey, maybe you're asking for something for someone that you can't do yourself.
Yeah, that's crazy because you just opened my eyes because sometimes I find myself, you kind of feel it out. to see how it
Yeah,
is.
no,
You know,
that's normal.
You might ask a question, and the moment you think you got the answer that they gonna answer, you just react and do whatever you want to do. So I might be like, what you think about this? And if you shoot it down, I'm not even gonna ask for your help around the situation no more. So like you said, it's a trauma response, which kind of opened up my mind there. So
I think for me, like, it'd be about the intent too. Like Mike said, so like I'm the friend that like Mike said, like when he was talking about like the I love you, like I'm the friend that's like, because my views on life and how the fragility of life, I'm gonna exit the friend group and send you a text message like, hey yo, I saw you put this in the group, like, hey, you need something?
Right.
Like I think that'd be a big thing. It'd be we're around our
Recognizing.
friends is also picking up on those things. Like I'm the one in the group that's gonna shoot that hey, everybody good text message when, like the storm hit. Like, hey, everybody good, do anybody need anything, or send, or not even in the group, send it individually, like, hey, hey, is everybody good? Like, low, on the low, do you need anything? Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. I think that is a big thing too, and in knowing who your circle is when it comes to that. Like, that's huge, because asking for help openly, it can be, it's if you don't want to be exposed or feel rejected, then it could be a big thing too. And I wanted to say this, like, being in the group, we all got group chats and stuff like that. Like, recognizing who your friends are. Like, every friend has a role in your life. Everybody in that group chat, one's a jokester, one's a this, one's a that. Just knowing your group chat, knowing who's what, knowing who you can reach out to, knowing, who you could be vulnerable with and stuff like that. I think that's matter. And that's peeling back yourself and, like, examining yourself and examining your friends on the level of where it is. And then it also exposes where that friendship is really. Like, if it's, I'm big on, like, I stopped putting people on plateaus. Like, you are who you are because you are who you are. Like, that's who you are.
Yeah.
Like based off our interactions, you are that person. Like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, it's like I've had people get upset. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, no, that's what our friendship is. That's what our relationship is. Not even a friendship. Our relationship is this because you do this and I do this, and that's where it's at.
Yeah, you can say anything. What you do is who you are.
what you do is who you are.
All right, we running low on time. So I want to ask, young man, Lil Mike, what role do you think mental health education should play in schools? Because you're a high school senior right now. How can we make it more accessible for young men? Is there anything you think we should have in schools?
I think every school should just have some type of counselor or therapist just devoted specifically to that aspect, especially for, like, boys, and definitely especially for Black boys.
Come on. Thank you. That's because that's huge.
That's huge.
Like, that's huge.
Hear from you.
Because a lot of times the schools don't know what to do and they look out to ask, well, what can I do? What can I do? Hear it from the kids. Ask them.
Right.
But for me to give you the platform for you to open up and say that, that's what I want to hear and that's what I like. And a lot of my questions that I had coming up, we answered them. But one that we didn't get to was, and I'm going to go back to you, young man, social media. So we didn't have all this back in the day. You understand me? It was a flip phone when it did come. We wasn't getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying? It was a different... It was a different freaking ball game.
Shoot up that Nokia.
Look, how do you deal with personally, maybe, or maybe your friends, how do you deal with feelings of anxiety or depression, especially with social media and expectations as a quarterback, too, as a high school athlete and everything? How do you deal with it?
I think like everything, there's a good side and a bad side to it.
Talk to me.
Like, and then it depends on the type of person that you are too, because like sometimes, like, you see things and you see people that are your age in different positions than you are, or in better positions than you are, whether it be sports or school or anything. And sometimes some people will see that and be like, dang, why is this not me? Or, dang, why couldn't I?
The pressure.
And other people will see it and be like, oh yeah, that's gonna be me one day. Or what can I do to get there? So, yeah, it's a good side and a bad side to it, and it depends on the type of person that you are. And as far as the, like, anxiety and emotions and stuff, like there are things that on social media that can help, and there are things on social media that can hurt. Like if you're using it as a distraction, then that's not good because it's not going to do nothing. But like a lot of what you heard today is going to come back later.
Yep.
But if you use it as a tool and as a source of learning and processing, then it can be that.
Right.
Perspective is
My
everything.
Can I ask something? I think that's super. Like the parents, do y'all let your kids? I mean, he's older.
Yeah.
So at what age, I guess, would be the question that you would allow a child to have social media, or if it's allowed at all?
I mean, I got an 8-year-old. She got TikTok.
I think. Look, can I answer that?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So being my age, I don't got no kids. I don't have no perspective on this from a parent part, but I think people should wait. Honestly,
Yeah.
Come on, man. Thank you.
I don't think.
All I do is let the kids speak.
Come on.
Because a lot of times, but
Yeah, for sure.
what you see, literally, that is the Angels Online voice unheard, connecting youth and adults in an open dialogue, discussing real life circumstances and situations. Because I just disconnected the use of cell phones in schools, and I only allowed children on that episode.
Yep.
And I allowed them to talk about it, and they said it's a distraction.
Yep.
Some of them talked about how in their school they can only use it at designated times. They use the words. They talked about how the bullying that they see. They talked about how kids like to live on the edge. If you can't do it, that what makes it more cool. They just gonna do it anyways.
Yep.
These are kids that talked about that because so many times, often we hear the politicians, the state, all these big people, the parents talking about it. Parents say, "My son need his phone," but your son think it's a distraction. So. Thank you so much.
I guess. So I asked that reason because like my daughter doesn't have so my daughter's 11. I mean, she's had a phone because of our structure with me and her mom. She's had a phone since she was 5. I gotta be able to get to my kids.
Yeah.
So what? But she's not allowed on social media. Like I mean, none. No Pinterest, TikTok, WhatsApp.
How you feel about YouTube?
There's no YouTube. No YouTube.
YouTube is the worst.
No YouTube.
YouTube is the worst.
Like
there's
no
like a
YouTube.
YouTube kid.
There's literally not even that. Not even that.
That don't even work.
Like there's literally there's no social media on her phone. Like her internet browser cannot access any social media page. Now, granted, understanding like when she with her friends, I'm pretty sure they're doing TikToks. My daughter know all the TikTok dances, so there's nothing I can do about that as long as it's safe. And she and to put in perspective, she's a straight A student. But like I've always been an advocate for you don't miss what you don't have.
Yeah.
Like I didn't grow up celebrating Christmas, and everybody be like, my dad was Muslim. Everybody was like, well, you didn't miss it. No, like I never had it.
Right.
I've never had it to miss it. I've never my house was a house though, because when your Nintendo 64 was underneath the tree still wrapped up, I was playing mine. I had Madden. I had all that already. You had to wait another month and a half when your stuff was in layaway and stuff like that to get out. I had mine at the crib already. Like my mom went.
Shots.
No, seriously. like all serious though. Like
I was broke.
Like no, it wasn't even
It
that.
ain't my fault. I had 2 parents.
No.
They love me.
No. But you had to wait. You had to wait.
Hey, but it really was like
You get what I'm saying? You had to wait until it was unwrapped on a certain day and stuff like that. Where mine was like, "Hey, yo, this one's on sale. Here go the new game or whatever. It was on sale." So like, I'm big on like you don't miss what you didn't have. So like I've always, and I've had parents be like, "Yo, you're a little bit too hard on her." I'm like, nah, it's just I don't want to expose her to what I don't like. The world's going to expose her to stuff.
Parenting is different.
They're going to life is going to expose her to everything. Yeah. So I don't want to help provoke. The things that like I want to baby step her through as far as like
keep her innocent as long.
Yeah, man. I tell her all the time.
You still talk to her about stuff. You still
all the time,
and
I tell her to stay in a child's place. And here's why I say it. I said because look at your dad. Your dad is 39. Do you know I've spent half of my life being an adult now? Mm-hmm. I've been an adult longer than I was a kid. And I'm like, you got to look at it like you're still a kid.
Enjoy it.
At some point, there's going to be a time where you're no longer a kid.
But you expose her to a lot of things.
And you're going to be
have those conversations.
And you're going to be like, I wish I was a kid again. Uh-huh. So I'm like, my stay in a child's place isn't to demean you as a kid.
There you go.
My stay in a child's place is to keep you innocent and to enjoy every second of this because it goes by. You're 11 now.
And
You were just a newborn.
I want to add to that also. I kind of look at social media. It's like kids being unsupervised together. And when you have too many kids being unsupervised, there's bound to be chaos because they're kids. They don't know any better. So they're talking, they're communicating, they're saying things that they wouldn't say if adults were present. And they're doing it all in the safety of their own group chat or own DM, right? And who knows the falsehoods or wrong information that they're sharing.
Yeah.
And or toxic information that is hurting your child.
And then you got that one leader.
I had to delete group chats.
Yeah.
That got deleted this year. I saw the direction of the group chat. And it's not that it was her. It was these group chats got 15 little kids in them. And I'm like, what?
Hey, I was in an elementary
I was like, yo, no group. One chat with one person one-on-one where that conversation can be controlled. I'm like, I don't want to see a group chat. I'm like, if they put you in it, remove yourself. And I'm like, that's just me being a parent. I'm like, you may not like this rule nor understand it. But I'm like, your group chats are chaotic. I'm like, your group chat more chaotic than mine.
I was at an elementary school and the kids got in trouble for a group chat. These are third graders.
Third graders,
And people don't realize that these kids are having these conversations. And so if you got
check your kid's phone.
Parent that's out of sync, just like
browser
everything.
History.
And then you got a dad named Mike, Tony, you know what I'm saying, Marco over here, and they looking at their kids in that group chat. I know for a fact they not gonna have these kids have this type of conversation. And now all of a sudden now it's going around with third grade teachers, and now they calling parents and everything. They talking about if this person they doing this. This is third grade. You know what grade third age is? 8, 9 years old. Right? So, and I'm speaking from facts. I saw it. I seen it. I heard it. You know what I'm saying? So when y'all say that, it's 100%. Whew, baby, look here. Ladies and gentlemen, look, I got one last question because we got to get out of here. We have time. This is going to be a 2-part episode. And I knew it was. That's why I'm ending season 4 with the male's mental matters. This is the last episode before any bonus episodes or another season start because I knew how powerful it would be. Some men might hate you, some women might love you, some men might love you, some women might hate you based on what we said, but welcome to real life dialogue where it can all be respected and understood. The last question I'm going to ask is, what advice would you give younger men who are struggling with mental health issues but feel like they can't talk about it? And I'm going to start with my far left. What advice? Quick, whatever you got.
I think the biggest advice is to get in communication with a therapist. I think that's the best advice. Not the best advice, but I would say that's the most important step because a therapist can not only hold space for you, but a therapist doesn't have a dog in a fight. A therapist doesn't have any bias, and so they can give you unfiltered observations and information that you wouldn't get from anywhere else. Now, you could have some people in your life that are very, objective and can really give you a straightforward point of view, but chances of that are very slim because they know you. They may know your family. They may have a dog in the fight of the situation or the outcome. And so I would say if you're a teenager, talk to your counselor at the school. A lot of these schools have an index of therapists that are connected to them, and get connected to someone.
Use a counselor to get connected.
Use your counselor to get, because a lot of, I started out as a school counselor. We don't have time to be giving counseling.
I say it all the time.
We don't.
Speaking from
it's not. That's why I shifted to a more clinical mental health approach, because school counselors don't have time to do counseling. We're really glorified secretaries. We do scheduling. We make sure your grades are good. If you're elementary school counselor, you might have some lunch bunches, some groups, but for the most part, you're only focused on scheduling and grades and graduation. And so I would say go to your school counselor, ask them for some resources for meeting a therapist. And a lot of times, a lot of these therapists have virtual options. So maybe you can't get there transportation wise. They have therapists that'll meet with you virtually. There are some out there that even do house calls. And so I would say that would be the number one route I would go.
Wonderful. You just said that's a different conversation. Ray, quick, talk to me. What advice would you give young men struggling?
My advice to give really not just young men, but all humans is be who you needed when you were younger. You know, whether
Come on.
a young kid, a little Mikey age at 18, a year ago, you might have went through something 3 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it was, you could look back and, you know, reflect on that situation and, you know, determine how you might have handled it differently or maybe the same, or what advice you would give to someone at your age at that point. So just my biggest thing I live by is be who I needed when I was younger.
Come on.
That's a word right there.
Man, like he said, one, therapy, big time. Two, I would say for me, I always tell parents to get your kids around like some men, like men that like not just any man.
Yeah.
Not just any man. Like we ain't talking about just no any man now.
Right.
We're talking about positive men who are going to feed them the information that they need and going to lead them into a direction that's needed to be, as far as like maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a mentor. I mean, a mentor or something like that. I know we lack mentors in St. Louis, and it's a big problem here. Yeah. But if you can find your son a mentor, therapist, or get him on some kind of sporting team where the direction of or advice of the coach is positive and it uplifts, I think that would be huge. I think a lot of these young boys on around other people that look like them or sound like them that can just give them advice that they need, sound advice that they need, or mentorship that they need. And those things to me, that'll help a huge amount.
Wonderful.
I'm sorry, you said something, man. I lost a kid because the dad felt like I want him to coach how I yell. I want him to coach him how I coach him. Well, I don't just yell at the kid. I don't just curse the kid. I don't just bash the kid and just be hard on him. First, I just start working with the kid for a month. I got to learn the kid.
Yeah.
It's not just, I'm taking him off the team because you ain't coach him how I coach him. I need somebody to coach him how I coach him. Right. How do you know that was right?
Right.
That was all I was thinking.
So, you know, I lost one of the best kids in his grade because the dad felt like, he not coaching him how I coach him.
Bro, my kids just make fun of me. I don't even curse.
Yeah, it's like...
So, like, to hear a coach get upset and, like, to the point where he, like, and then there's nothing that comes out, they be like, Coach, you ain't gonna curse at me? I'm like, nah, I don't curse. So it was weird. Like, I literally had high school kids looking at me like, yo, I've never heard this man say a curse word. And that's so abnormal for them. They was like, yo, he'll yell at me to the point to where it's not even demeaning. And, like, it's just, he's just upset at the result of whatever we were doing.
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite.
Evan, give me real quick. Evan, give me your advice for younger men struggling with mental health issues or feel like they just can't talk about it.
Okay, well, my hope is that depending on their understanding, find somebody who is sound, that can provide positive feedback and that can give structure to where you are. And if you have a friend, confide in them, but at the same time, make sure, y'all on the same page and y'all able to have conversations. So it's like you said, somebody said it before, you can't tell every friend who you call friend everything going on. They can't handle the information well.
Correct.
They're not going to be able to handle it.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Mike, talk to me.
Be quick. Be vulnerable.
Come on.
Never stop growing. Never stop learning. Never stop challenging yourself. And kind of the adverse to what Marco said, I think you can learn a lot from terrible people.
Yeah.
And it's like you learn what not to be. You learn, you know what I mean? Like homeless people homeless for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a dude, bums are bums for a reason.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No accountability, it's always somebody else's fault. Like, it's just, I was around a bunch of great men, but I was around a lot of terrible men too. And I learned just as much from them terrible guys as I did from them great guys. Just, they ain't know, they was teaching me lessons that they was teaching.
Last but not least, young Mike, do you got anything? Because you young, you been in here, you done heard these men, you've given your voice, you've given your opinion, you've given your outlook. Any advice for your friends, your peers, even young people like my sleeping son over here, little nephew over here sleeping, snoring on the episode. I love it, man. It's real life.
That Canes did it.
That Canes?
Yeah.
Canes, we need a sponsorship.
He should have had Lee's, huh?
Definitely should have had weeds.
All right, little Mike, talk to me, baby.
I think sports is important. I think you learn, especially with boys, you learn a lot from sports that, like younger, you learn a lot more younger than you would from not playing sports. And like you said, be vulnerable and it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay to feel away. It's not it don't make you any less for feeling away. You could talk about it. And if you can't find somebody that you feel like you could talk to about it, talk to God.
Come
No.
on.
I love it.
There we go.
Ain't nothing wrong with
I
it.
love it.
Thank you. My advice, let me just tell you, mental health does not discriminate.
Yeah.
I don't care what color you are, how much money you got, what you look like, how short, tall. I don't care about none of that. Everybody, life circumstances will hit everybody, and I always talk about it. This is season 4, episode 8, The Male's Mental Matters. So for all you men out there, you matter. You matter. You are important, regardless of the age. I've had a 10-year-old on this episode. I got an 18-year-old on this episode, and we ain't gonna disclose none of these other old men ages, okay? So that's all I want to say. And you know, before we gotta leave, everybody gotta give a good people, good people. Tony, we gonna start with you. Give me a good people, good people.
Good people, good people.
Right.
Good people, good people.
Marco.
Good people, good people.
Evan.
Good people, good people.
Right.
Good people, good people.
Good Mike.
Man, this world wouldn't be nothing without good people, good people.
That's what I'm talking about. And you know what I'm going to leave you with, ladies and gentlemen. Navigating the Storm is out right now on Amazon, on my Shopify, www.theangelsonline.org. Book signing coming up. You know I got to leave you with something, y'all. Good people, good people.
Go people, go people.
Good people, good people.
Go people, go people.